Oh shit.
Bradley, why don't you tell the people what we're doing here today?
Dude, I'm very excited. This is a cool idea Willer had. So a while back, Tyler did finish reading the web serial Worm,
I
and
did.
of course, we kind of want to have like a what the fuck would you call it? Like a
Wrap up.
Recap.
post-mortem retrospective.
Yeah.
But so we've talked about Worm a lot, and there's actually a lot of podcasts who have talked about this story who have read it, and so I think Willer was like, what can we do that other people haven't done? And a fun thing we've done on the Roundabout cast for One Piece is
And
having
others.
a tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and others is like having a tier list of every character in One Piece, and we've also done like a tier list of every Nintendo game ever made. Which
Pokemon
holy
starters, every anime we watched. What I
Yeah.
find is that these are good ways for us to discuss things that don't come up in normal discussions. And also,
Mhm.
Tyler had 8 arcs to cover since he last talked about it in the podcast. So we're like, I think this is a cleaner way for us to like celebrate Tyler finishing Worm, and also something a little different than Worm fans might have
Yeah.
seen. As you can see, though, there's hella characters in this bitch, and we don't want to take too long, so I think we just jump right into it. Tyler's here also. He hasn't said much yet.
And-
Hello. Yeah, I didn't grab wine yet, but Jesus, I'll grab it
Bro.
after our first break.
I already cracked open one of my drinks, baby.
All right,
Yeah.
we're taking a break. We're taking a pause. Go, Tyler, run.
Like otherwise, if we were just talking about the story as a whole, we might not talk about ballistic specifically, for example.
Yeah.
But here, we get to.
Yeah, and it's like this came up in a recent One Piece talk we were having. We were comparing two characters that just discussing the story would have never brought us to compare those characters, which was
Yeah.
Mihawk and Ace. And it's
Ooh.
like that's something that we do in our tier list though, because we don't just do these, we just don't throw these together. Some of these characters we will talk more than others for time's sake, but some of these characters we're gonna dive into and really compare them to other characters and see how we
Yeah.
feel. I
And,
will say there's like a tenth of these names I don't think any of us will recognize, and they're going into the Who tier.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, right? Because I've read this story multiple times, and I've like gone through trolls of Word of God statements and shit. And there are some characters who are mentioned in the story exactly once that I'll remember the name of, like Murder Beam. He's mentioned one time in the chapter where I think Canary goes to the birdcage or some shit like that. And I couldn't remember his name, but there's some names on here that I'm like, that has to be made up. There's no way.
We can throw one of those in there because none of us know him. What was he called? Iron?
Iron, yeah. And like maybe it's supposed to be Iron Rain.
Yeah, which is a character that's mentioned once in the story, and then
Yeah.
you said in like the Weaver Dice game.
Yeah, there was like a Weaver Dice example with Iron Rain. So like
When we get to him, we get to him.
So these tier lists on this website normally they would have pictures, but number one, there probably isn't a picture for like half of these, and if there was a picture, it would be that person's own interpretation, so we might not recognize them.
Yeah,
So,
there's another tier list that's all pictures, and it's like I don't recognize any of these characters without you telling me who they are. So you're gonna enjoy looking at names for a little while, but
Yeah.
that's about. I mean, it's gonna get the job done.
dude, this is gonna be so interesting.
All right, now we wait for Tyler. Tyler's
wine.
back. He's got himself some snacks and some drinks, which means we're ready to go. Bradley
Oh my
brought
God.
something up very important. If there's a character here who becomes significantly better in Ward or something, we haven't read
don't know.
Ward, so
Yeah, we don't know.
We're factoring no Ward into this discussion.
I have read Ward by meaning I read all the wiki chapters.
Tyler, you do not want to admit that as we start the tier list.
Yeah. Disclaimer: I'm a piece of shit.
They know. Everyone.
Yeah,
knows.
it was funny because
I'm
like
kind of an asshole.
the night he finished Worm, we were talking about it, saying shit we liked about the finale and stuff or whatever. And I think Tyler was looking through the wiki to, maybe decide if he was ever gonna read Ward or not, because
Yeah,
it's a big undertaking.
I was trying to make sure, like, would I enjoy Ward as much? Like, I wanted to see more about it, and then also I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything in Worm.
Yeah, And then I remember you asked us a question, and I didn't recognize like half the words you said. And Willer and I were like, I think that's a ward thing.
And
you
then
just
he
asked
quoted
us.
something from like arc 19.4 of Ward Infrared. I was like, Tyler, my boy.
Then I just dove deep in.
And then,
Yeah.
I logged
Might
out of
as well
Discord.
at this point.
Okay, so I don't know if we're gonna need this F tier. Maybe not.
Do we just pick randomly? Oh no, we need that F tier. I know what character we're putting there.
Okay, Jaw and Brooks are like bitches henchmen, right? Both of them. No.
No,
Brooks.
that's Barker and Biter.
Jaw is
Tattletales.
Tattletale's henchmen.
You know what? These are better than bitches
No.
henchmen because they have one chapter dedicated kind of to them.
Wait, Jaw is bitch's henchman. Brooks is Tattletales.
No, that's Barker and Biter are bitches henchmen.
Okay.
Yeah, good start, boys.
Yeah, but
So wait, these are which ones? These are Tattletales.
those are Tattletale's henchmen, and they came with them
to the merchant like rave thing.
Yeah, I think it was fun. Kind of, they got some characterization a little bit there, where one of them was like a perv who was trying to get on Taylor, who's 15, and Tattletale's like, "Fuck off!" Like,
Brooks, like one of them was like the short, serious guy. I think. No, that might be someone. else.
yeah, no, that's right.
I think they're both D tier, maybe E tier characters.
Yeah, I'd put them around there. Like, obviously they're not great, but considering how minor they are, they were a little fun.
I think we're gonna liberally use C, D, and E for more
I think
minor
you're right.
characters.
I think
Brooks,
you're right.
Brooks was the medic, like the Irish medic.
The
wasn't he?
medic, yeah.
Yeah, some shit like that.
He performed surgery on Skitter
I'm not.
and helped with some poison and stuff at some point. He came in clutch.
It could be a D. He was.
I'll give him a
We're
D.
being too nice. We're being too nice.
We're being too nice
Who
to
the
him.
fuck is Blue Blood?
Oh, time to Google this shit. I don't know who Blue Blood is.
I got the wiki pulled up.
Blue Blood. Who is this dude?
Can't wait to get. We're gonna get Fat Ward spoilers. I can't wait.
Oh, dude. I
Blue
just
Blood.
know.
Blue Blood's a character that dies, but then you see a Ward version of it.
Worm. Wait, what?
I think he's a fat Who tier.
Oh, whoa! It says he attended some of the Cauldron meetings near the end of the story when they would like.
Those characters are all Who tier. I'm not gonna lie. They were filler characters.
He's a member of the elite.
Yeah, he's a who.
The elite
Okay.
showed up very little.
Black Kaze is.
Oh, Black Kaze is cool, right? So Black Kaze is this character, and they showed up very briefly at some points in the stories. I think they show up the most during like Gold Morning. They have like a samurai sword, and whenever they slash, they can teleport, and they like strike everyone who is between the start and end point.
Yeah, they have like Zoro like style slashes. as
Yeah,
their
shit
power.
like that.
Yeah.
So,
But were they part of the Lung flashback or?
I don't think they were in that flashback. I think they
Black
were in
Kaze
the
is a woman.
birdcage. I think they might have been in the
I don't think
birdcage.
there's much to this character, y'all. I think it's a character who like barely shows up in the story, like, but we remember them. So like, I don't because we remember him. I don't or her. I don't think they're a Who, but they might be E or F. But like, what do we?
I'll put them in like E because I think they at least have a kind of cool power.
If they are shortly in the story and they suck, they go to F. I think that's
Yeah.
If we use that tier, that's
So they had some recognition in the story enough to have their own page.
I guess.
Following Leviathan's attack on Kyushu, Black Kaze went around killing anyone she saw. She reportedly killed 20,000 people, killing survivors,
What
rescuing
the
fuck.
boarding
What the
ships that approached too close to the ruined area,
Hold on.
killing the crews, and rendering a widespread area devoid of life.
I'm gonna see the citation on this.
Where do we learn
motherfucker.
that? Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, that happened.
Post-war Interlude 16 Zeta.
Damn.
Wait, 16 Zeta? This is Ward shit.
No.
There's no
Interlude-
16Z.
Okay, the figure for 20,000 people came from like a Weaver Dice example document. I think it looks like.
Okay.
This is when Panacea enters the birdcage, and we gain a lot of descriptions of the characters about who exist in there.
Okay, I thought Black Kaze was in the birdcage.
Yeah, she was.
Okay,
Okay.
who is Bambina?
Bambina shows up.
Bam.
It's either arc 23 or 24, the one where Taylor's kind of doing her trial runs with the Protectorate.
Yes.
Bambina, I think, was in Vegas, and she was like a child as weird as it sounds, she was like a child star cape
Yeah.
where she was just trying to make herself as notorious as possible. I think what she does is she flies around using explosions. Like she'll make an explosion and fly into you and then make another explosion or some shit like that. She was kind of a psychopath. I thought August Prince, who was on our team, was way cooler.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put her like in D or E or something like that because she's in one chapter.
I'm gonna put her in who?
You're gonna put her where?
I would say who.
She was in like one chapter.
No, I do remember this character. We're gonna throw her in E. I feel like until we get to Saint, these are all E tier characters. No,
Wait,
Annex.
not this next one. Knock this next
Who the
one.
fuck is Ash Beast?
Dude, Ash Beast is fucking awesome. So
Oh my! I don't remember anything. Holy shit!
Ash Beast is an S-class threat that we hear about occasionally, I think, but we don't see him until Golden Morning.
Yep.
Basically, he's a walking explosion that you can that he's exploding all the time, covered in fire. You can see him from the horizon, like miles away, and apparently he just roams around to Africa. And like villagers just have to evacuate when he gets near, and so I think Taylor starts using him during Golden Morning.
She throws Ash Beast at Scion.
Yeah, and I think like the more he was getting damaged, he was like growing horns and wings and shit. I don't know. He was cool though.
Well, I would say that's a D tier character for his power alone and his like use as a weapon.
I'll put him a D.
Arbiter.
So something that's really cool is Ash Beast exists after Golden Morning. Like they use him and then they just put him back where he came from.
Poor Africa.
Put that thing back where he came from. Help me.
I like how, like, as I recall, Africa and Worm is just like a huge shit show. Was that right?
Oh, it's just like warlords everywhere conquering as much as they can.
The Silver Surfers out there.
I guess. Anyways, Arbiter sounds familiar, but I can't quite place it.
Dude, this is one that I just had to look up. I didn't know who the fuck this was.
Throwing him into who? Let's not worry about it too much.
It says they were mentioned in chapter 23.2.
Must have been a Vegas boy or one of those magician boys.
Oh no! She considers Cauldron evil given their rampant human experimentation on Case 53s.
Nah. Annex, though, was part of Taylor's team, yeah? Weaver's team. Annex?
I think so. Yeah, Chicago Wards.
Yeah.
Isn't she...
Wasn't that the guy who, like, turns into the storm?
Oh, no, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, he can, like, go into materials and reshape them.
Yes. I remember he had really good synergy with, like, Golem and Tecton and Cuff. Yeah.
I like the Chicago Wards because they're the one team that explicitly crafted themselves to have synergy.
Mm-hmm. I will say Annex, I remember the least. I think he got the least amount of like play and screen time.
I think he did because like obviously Golem gets a lot of screen time. Tecton's like the leader, so he gets to talk to Weaver a lot. Mm-hmm. I think Grace got a lot of screen time for being like the scared one.
Yeah, I very much remember Grace from like casual conversations, but also during the Behemoth fight.
Oh wait, no, Cuff. I think I was thinking of Cuff.
Yeah,
or is Cuff Grace? Is that her name?
I think Cuff is Grace, right? That's her first name.
This is a shit show already.
I know, everyone hates us.
Okay, eventually we're going to get to Regent and shit, and like characters who are there the whole story, and we'll like actually have things to say.
Y'all, I'm going to say this. The Worm Wiki, terrible.
Terrible
This is the worst wiki I've ever seen. Like, why do I need to know his professional status is deceased?
Yeah.
When that doesn't happen until like Golden Morning.
Why would
professional status?
Why would you not have that, like, why don't you have a spoiler page and then you can see that? Anyways, I don't think there's not much to Annex. I think that's another D tier character.
Yeah. Throw him in there.
Animos has to be a who. Who the fuck is this guy?
What the? What? Time to see who the fuck this is.
Okay, this tier list was clearly made with all the nobodies are up first.
I consider myself a super fan, but holy shit. Okay, Animos was a member of the Teeth who can change into a dog-like creature for a limited time, comparable in size to one of Bitch's fully transformed dogs.
Allfather was like I remember the name Allfather being thrown around.
That was Kaiser's father, and
he doesn't do anything in the story really.
I think he's
Yeah,
dead before the story starts.
Throw this guy in who?
I think his ability was like he could open a portal that just shoots out a slurry of like axes and swords and knives and shit.
I'm gonna throw him an F.
F might become
He's
double who.
Like
F might become double who. I like that.
because he's not who because we know who he is, but it's just like he doesn't do anything, so he's just like right above who.
Okay, I don't remember Acid Bath. That's probably a who, but Raymaster has like a cool thing in the story, doesn't he?
Acid Bath does a lot.
Acid Bath is cool. In Golden Morning, he's a guy they release from the birdcage.
Yeah.
And he gets some really cool moments because whenever Taylor starts controlling people with the portals, he actually like praises her. He's like, "Oh, I admire you willing to use people like that. Like I like how ruthless you are."
That's that guy.
And then later on in the arc, I think he uses him for a human shield and he dies. And I'm like, yeah, it's not so cool when it's you, is it?
That's so
Acid Bath?
fucked up. All right, Acid Bath goes to D for that little moment.
I put him in D tier because he was one of the few people who charged up to Scion and just like went all out on him.
Yeah, doesn't he just like control this huge glob of acid or something?
He is acid.
He is acid.
Yeah.
Raymaster like is the walking storm guy, right? Is that
That's Wantum, I think.
Wantum?
Raymancer was in the Echidna fight, and I think he died. I think he got hit by radiation.
Yeah, it wasn't like I remember there being a really sad scene around him, where like someone had to like swallow the fact that he died and then move on. But I think it was Wanton then. Like Raymaster and Wanton must have been friends.
Tecton. So the reason why we know very little of this character is this is a character who was introduced and killed off while Taylor was blind.
Shit.
I don't remember much about him, y'all.
Maybe E or something.
Maybe E. If we don't remember.
During
Okay, here's a character I can talk about. Let's go, Saint.
Saint.
I'm thinking B.
Yeah, because like he introduces probably one of the best moral dilemmas in the story, I think.
Yes.
Because it's like, people like get actually heated in arguing about this on the subreddit sometimes about whether what he did was the right thing to do.
He's the guy who like shuts down Dragon temporarily.
Yeah.
And in that interlude with him, I feel like I could really side with him where like he really thought Dragon was the end of the world and he made some pretty compelling moves and arguments. What I don't like about Saint is how like quickly and lazily his side story with like, is it his son or something? Like, do you remember around arc 28, they have a confrontation with Saint and then they just kind of like exposition Saint's backstory and like why he did certain things?
Yeah, like I wish we had built him up a little bit more because then you would like feel that much more betrayed when he actually does kill Dragon, probably.
I mean, Saint was the one who found Dragon originally, right? And
he like, I think
diving.
Dragon's creator, I think, left behind this like box with a recording explaining like, hey, Dragon's not a problem right now, but like if someone was able to loosen the restrictions, they could be like, you know, an AI that takes over the world. And so during Gold Morning, whenever they didn't yet know what the end of the world was going to be, he just saw that Dragon was getting all of her restrictions loosened, being able to violate everyone's privacy, and he's like, she has to be the end of the world. That has to be it.
It's not. That's not in Golden Morning, right? It's in Slaughterhouse 9000.
Yeah.
That was a really good turning point in the story because it's like Dragon was kicking ass at that point. She was like slaughtering those slaughterhouse, and then she dies, and the things and the tables kind of turn for the bad guys.
But here's my thing. At the moment, I was pissed because I was like, dude, this just effed everything. And then I realized what the real... So here's the thing. Here is the dilemma. Had he not stopped Dragon, would Dragon have been able to stop Jack Slash before Scion made it to him?
Maybe, dude. Maybe.
And nobody can know.
And
that's why it's a dilemma.
I thought there was one point when Bradley said, like, no matter where Scion was, Scion would have been able to have heard Jack.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily that, but
you have to be listening specifically, right?
Basically, even if they did stop Jack, Dinah said eventually he would have come to the same conclusions by himself. It just would have been years later. So you never know.
Dragon ended up being like, I mean, Saint ended up being kind of right because like Dragon would have been a pain in the ass, but she wouldn't have done shit
I
against
need
Sion.
to re-listen to our podcast discussions on why I dislike what happened to Saint in arc 28, but I just remember not liking it, and that's what keeps him from being A tier for me.
But yeah, I think B's a good spot.
If we're all comfortable with B, we should move on to Satirical, who I don't quite recall.
Satyr.
He looks like a satyr, and I think he can impersonate people. He's like a doppelganger.
Or was he friends with the person who impersonates people?
Maybe he's a Vegas cape.
He's capable of shifting his appearance into another person.
He becomes Super Lady. What's her name?
Alexandria. No, that's a Pretender.
That's Pretender. Okay, never mind. Yeah, then I
So,
don't remember this guy.
The only real conversation I remember with Satirical is in arc like 27-28 when Taylor's team is raiding the Cauldron base. Satirical's there, and their teams have a brief fight, and Taylor and Satirical are talking, and she's like, "You know why I'm here?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know why you're here." And they look at each other's eyes, and they don't say anything. And I think Canary is like, you guys do this creepy shit where you both know what's going on, but no one else knows what's going on, and you won't say it out loud.
Yeah.
But then during that, like the alarms start going off, and like Sion enters the building,
and like, we gotta fucking go.
And they're still not saying anything, and Satyr just like backs off.
Oh, dude. Hot take. I don't even know if it's that hot of a take. I would put Satirical in F. He shows up quite a bit. I just never really cared that much about him.
That is enough to throw someone down. And here's what I'm going to say.
Cared.
Tyler and Bradley clearly remember more than me, so for most characters, I'm going to give them the right of way. Scapegoat has one of like a very quotable line in the series, and I think that gets him in C tier.
I'll put him in C.
that line alone puts you in C tier, bud.
Like, not only is that line really cool, I like how he's kind of used for Tattletale's explanation of how powers work in the Echidna fight, because it's this really creepy implication where when he heals you, he's like, let's say your arm is broken, he finds a version of you with a working arm and like swaps your arms out. So another you on another Earth just like gets a broken arm and is like, what the fuck?
Revel, I don't remember.
Revel is a person Taylor actually quite looked up to, the Protectorate. She had this like lantern that followed her around and would shoot out orbs.
Oh, yeah, she was really strong.
Now, the problem with this, of course, and this might be on Wild Bow, this is someone Taylor looked up to, and Taylor was sad when she died. However, Taylor grew to know this person during the time skip a little bit, so it doesn't really hit us hard when she dies that much, right. I don't think.
When does she die?
I think she might have died on the oil rig or some other time, but she died during Gold Morning.
Controlled by... Oh, no. Taylor kills her.
No way.
I remember that, yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Kepri kills her.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I remember that point whenever, like, she, like, mentions, like, her in passing or something when she's struggling to remember things.
Taylor looked up to this character, then used him as like a human shield. And
yeah, Tyler's right. She was being controlled by Kepri during the Sion fight.
This is all just reflecting badly on Taylor. That's all I'm saying.
She got killed in the same blast that killed Trickster. It looks like, I think.
Oh, Ashbeast apparently did die.
Trickster died? I thought he like lived on to be like a total teacher clone or whatever, or like a teacher.
No, I think Taylor ended up grabbing him, which manipulative.
Ashbeast through a portal before sending him against Sion. Ashbeast and Sion started to tear into each other as Kepri pulled her frontline capes back. Kepri sent another cape to assist Ashbeast, including one that fed fire into his body. He is killed by Sion while controlled by Kepri.
So much happens in that fight that like the who and like who is involved gets mixed up. That seems like a D tier character because there's some like nice thematic resonance despite the fact that they're not in the story very much.
Revel was like one of the few who actually, I think they were in the Leviathan fight.
They were in the Behemoth fight for sure.
Yeah, she fought against Behemoth and she like survived a lightning bolt.
Because I think her power.
Oh, I do remember her survive. Like, that's badass. Is this a C tier character then?
You know what? It looks like her power is like a lesser version of Behemoth. It says her lantern can like control forms of energy.
Yeah.
It looks like she has like Behemoth's power, but less.
What are y'all thinking?
I'll put her in D, I guess.
Okay. Screamer.
Dude, Screamer's fucking creepy.
Is that the girl who can speak into your head?
Yeah, okay, that's such a cool power, dude.
That was one of the, because that was during the Slaughterhouse 9000
Yes.
arc, but even though it's not like immediately threatening, I just thought it was the creepiest power because like she can make it sound like your teammates talking to you, and she'll like put a tiny voice in your ear, which is like subtle enough that you think it's your own thoughts, like shit like that. I think she's cool.
I remember her power being used like it was in a raid where I also think like the winter, like the name is not the Winter Soldier, but like Winter something was also in that raid.
It was the vampire and the ice and fire people.
It was such a cool component of that fight that it makes her at least a D tier for me.
Dude, I'd be cool to put her in C just because I thought she was one of the coolest members of the
9000.
Slaughterhouse 9000.
Yeah.
She had a lot of screen time, oddly.
Shen Yu.
All right, time to look this one up. Let's see what we got.
I think Shen Yu was a part of the Yongbon.
The Yongbon? It looks like it. Let's see.
He's
able to see incoming attacks through.
We only get this character in Golden Morning. This is the thinker that Kepri possesses in order to foresee gain immense foresight.
Seems like a who. We didn't remember him initially.
Yeah, whenever Kepri was attacking the like Chinese compound, I think he was like the one heading the counterattack.
Tried to halt Kepri's ascendancy and badly failed. He was used to deal with Dragon and was largely successful.
Let's put him in who? Let's put him in who?
Rifle?
Rifle? Get the fuck out of here. Who? Fuck out of it. Rifle? Gum Rifle? Rifle appears in 26.
Was very out of his depth at Killington.
Who the fuck is Killington?
Oh, Killington is where they found Jack's tape whenever he finally came out of stasis.
Okay.
It was like the first town they hit.
This is making me want to reread some chapters, man. Worm is good.
Rifle was apparently a member of the Red Hands, which like Gru's new girlfriend was part of the Red Hands.
Yeah, I remember her. He's a
just go who.
Okay, Skin Slip I remember by name quite a bit, but I don't remember exactly what he did.
Yeah, so he can like control skin, and what he would do is he'd kill people and like staple their skin to his to give him more skin to work with.
He was part of like the scare tactics they were pulling off, like when we were discovering that the 9000, like what their goal was.
Please check midcast chat for fan art
of Skin Slip.
I think I'm actually good. I don't
know if I want to see fan art of this dude.
It looks like he's just covered in Big League Chew.
Okay, all right, you turn me around. I gotta look. It is Big League Chew and fucking like the fruit by the foot. No, the one that's in bubble chew or whatever. I don't know.
The tape, gum by the foot or whatever.
What is the name?
What is that?
What is the name of the gum tape?
Gum tape.
It's the Hubba Bubba.
Oh, my rubber. Yeah, it's Hubba Bubba.
Yeah, it's
rubber.
Hubba Bubba bubble tape.
Okay.
Some shit like that.
Skin Slip seems like an E tier.
Yeah, put him in E.
Danny Hebert.
He's
interesting, right?
F.
You know what? He is dislikable at times. I want to put him at either C or B. What are y'all thinking?
That's the thing. Like, there are times where, you know, I'll go back and forth between like you're being a shitty dad and also feeling bad for him because like his first interlude, I actually feel really bad because he's so confused. Yeah. He's like, he sees his daughter's life falling apart and she runs away from home and he doesn't know why. And he really is trying. But the thing is, he kind of accelerates Taylor's choice to join the villain life because she's always told him, you know, I hate feeling trapped. I don't want to talk about the shit that happened to me at school because that upsets me.
But here's why Danny's so good. Taylor's also such a little shit. He has to step in somehow, and stepping in just ruins Taylor more.
She is all he has, you know?
He gets the redemption whenever... So, like, there's this great contrast where we have that scene where Taylor has the meeting with the principals and her dad, right? and basically like nobody defends Taylor. And that's when she's at school, and then the same meeting happens whenever Taylor's a villain, and after she's turned herself in, and her dad comes to the meeting, and he is like all the way on Taylor's side.
I'm thinking like B or A maybe actually. Like Danny is such an integral character to this story.
I'll put him in B, at least.
I feel like Danny is one bad day away from becoming Veronica's dad.
Yo.
So here's the concept. Is Danny the reason Kepri was able to come down?
Like from being Kepri?
No,
Yeah.
Because I guess
I would put Imp as like the major factor to Kepri coming down.
Definitely Imp, but like Imp is S tier, by the way.
I love that
Get
girl.
there.
Yeah, we'll see about that, buddy.
We'll see about that, Buster Brown.
But I don't know. There's a nice that I wasn't expecting the ending to this story at all.
I think Danny came out alright.
Let's move on to Rhyme. Rhyme has like ice powers or like big
Who?
crystals.
Yeah, I think the time we saw Rhyme the most was when
She
Taylor got
succeeded
outed.
Alexandria.
When Taylor got outed at the high school, I think Rhyme was like outside there, maybe.
That's so nothing. Wasn't Rhyme also in that part where like there's something about like in 28 there's some lobby where like Armmaster or Defiant at the time and Taylor are talking about like Dragon and like they find out about Dragon. I remember Rhyme being that scene, but I'm probably wrong.
I think this is one of those characters kind of like Allfather or Satirical, where it's like the fact that I do know they appeared in the story a lot, but I still don't know about them.
Let's throw him in E and move on to Sleeper.
They died in the fight with Behemoth.
Okay.
Sleeper S tier. Everybody.
Sleeper
knows.
S tier. This is such a cool thing, and so the vibe I've gotten, nobody say shit in the comments. The vibe I've gotten is Sleeper actually shows up in Ward and does shit or whatever.
The vibe I've gotten is the opposite. He never shows up still. That's what I got.
Like, I think Sleeper was a really important element for Wildbow because Wildbow is, very extensive with world building and World of God stuff, but he said he explicitly included Sleeper as an example of not everything has to be explained in detail in the story. He said he just kind of wanted to keep it a mystery, and he's done some great trolls with revealing Sleeper's power, so I like it.
Should we keep him an S? This is a troll placement, but I think that's kind of cute. I think the fan base will enjoy it. Yeah,
I think, you know what was funny? I remember at one point, Wildbow like put up, it was like a Google Sheets or some kind of sheet that had a list of every cape who appears in the story and their power. And on Sleeper's power, it was like a mix of jumbled letters, and someone figured out it was like a Caesar cipher where you have to like rotate the letters around the wheel or whatever. And they decoded it, and he's like, "You didn't really think I would put the power here, did you?"
So my favorite thing, I remember this about Sleeper. So whenever Kepri has control over the clairvoyant, he's like sitting on a lawn chair on a balcony in Earth Zion, reading a book out loud to himself, and she's like, I'm gonna leave him be.
Not worth the trouble. Not worth the trouble.
Yeah, she said he's not worth the trouble, and I was like, shit.
Kepri, not worth the trouble.
Controlling thousands.
Who the Shuckle is Shuffle?
What? Shuffle works with there was let me see the list again. I don't have it clicked. He works with the Chicago ward.
He was Revel's lieutenant.
Revel. Yeah.
Get out of here. That's a who for me, man.
Yeah, that's a who for me. I'm sorry,
Let's just move on to Squealer.
Oh, Squealer. So Squealer was the merchant's tinker, and she specifically makes vehicles, but the vehicles always look ridiculous and are stupidly loud.
Yeah, I picture like a bunch of like shitty steampunk.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mad Max looking cars.
There wasn't much to Squealer though.
Yeah, I think she made like a helicopter that had like a ton of rotary blades on it, and I think that's the one that pureed Jack Slash.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Well, they didn't puree Jack Slash; it's the opposite.
Pureed
the rest of the
fucking Skidmark.
Skidmark. Squealer goes in E. I think there's not really anything.
Yeah, man, look at that E tier.
I've realized now this is gonna be a fat D, but like those S characters are so S.
A fat D.
Spruce.
Y'all.
Let's just move on to teacher.
Yeah. No,
teacher,
put him in F.
Teachers
Put him in
legitimately might be a E tier or F tier for me.
This
I
now
hate this
let's
character.
be specific. This is exclusively Worm Teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
So teacher in the very like near the end of Worm, the last arcs, it's clear he's being set up as a huge antagonist for a sequel. And even in one of the epilogue chapters, I think he's like making moves. The thing is,
Yes.
something in common for all three of us is I think we just didn't really give a fuck about what he was doing.
So it felt like a waste of time. And look, it's not 100% a waste of time because the teacher was important to show this theme of like humanity still infighting even though the golden morning's about to come, right?
Yeah.
But like I think he goes in the E tier, but for completely different reasons from everyone else. He was in the story so much, and I just didn't care, and it felt like it was lengthening an already very long story.
Yeah, let's put him at the bottom of E.
Okay. He's like he deserved his. These guys got E by like default. He fought for his E tier.
Yeah, he had to fight for that.
The three blasphemies, they're like I remember them in the Cauldron meeting, maybe.
Like, I think they're a kind of cool world building deal where they show up in a Cauldron meeting, and so it was interesting. I think Kepri said she couldn't control them because they're not actually human.
Huh.
And I think collectively they're an S-class threat. I think the only thing we know about their activities is they were involved in political assassinations in Europe. I find them really interesting. I think they're kind of like Sleeper, where they're just there to like be in the background and kind of be cool.
We'll move them to high E because of the world building.
Yeah.
And also, I think the E tier is looking good. No one else deserves to be removed anymore. Romp.
Dude, okay, so something interesting about this character, if it's who I think it is, let me confirm. So, there was a character named Mock Show, and whenever I think Taylor was very new to the Chicago Wards, she fought someone named Topsy or whatever. And Topsy had someone named Mock Show on his team. She was this like 14-year-old girl who just got her powers. And after Taylor, kicked all their asses, she was like, hey, look, I've gone the route you're going at pretty much the same age you are. It's not worth it. She was trying to convince Mock Show to join the Wards. Mock Show's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So then the time skip happens. And then eventually this character named Romp shows up with the Chicago Wards. And you're like, who the fuck is Romp? But if you look in the tags on that chapter,
no wonder why.
It says Mock Show, not Romp.
That's D tier worthy. Nice little Easter egg and like world.
It's a fun Easter egg.
Yeah. Tecton's pretty cool, y'all. I like Tecton.
He's pretty alright. I put him in like a C or some shit.
Dude, I would put him as A. Tecton tries, man.
He tries so hard.
How about we settle for B? I think B seems fair.
He tries so hard.
Wait, did I say A? I meant B.
Okay, we'll do low B. I think the coolest thing about Tecton, the thing that always stuck out to me, was anyone aside from Annex from the Chicago Wards, I like.
Yeah.
As a unit, I love what they bring to the story. And Tecton gets that final hit on Jack, which is always so badass to me. Right?
Dude,
he's
and
the
you
one
know
that
what?
pile bunkers him.
I think, he like caves in the buildings or like landscape around him.
And then in the air, right? He like hits them like as they're falling.
Yeah.
It's badass.
And you know what's really fucking cool? I think in our podcast, we kind of talked about the whole aspect of Taylor's character where she never connected with the Chicago Wards.
Yeah.
And a part where that's really hammered home is in the chapter where the time skip is actually happening. The chapter does like a dozen different jumps where it'll show this scene, this scene, this scene. And in one of those short scenes that's only a few paragraphs, Taylor's like about to walk into a portal to another Cauldron meeting, and he's really distressed. He's like, I've tried so hard with you, and like we fought for you for like over a year now. And he's like, I don't know, you just don't connect with us. And I think he even says, I think this is where it signals the time skip has actually happened. He's like, you've been with us way longer than you were ever with them. And he's like, I just don't know why you won't work with us.
Okay, I was trying to remember who said that. Man, okay,
Yeah.
Tecton's kind of cool. I really like that.
Yeah, he tried so hard with Taylor.
He's the leader, right, of the bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the leader of the bunch.
Is he also not the one that had to deal with like that guy's death I was mentioning earlier? I think that was Tecton who had to like.
It might have been. Yeah, I think so.
I am very comfortable with putting him in at least B though.
Above or below Danny?
Rook is probably one of the British capes that show up near the end of the story.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what we're working with here. Rook.
Let's just throw him in who. We got a lot of
Y'all-
characters to go through, y'all.
Y'all, I knew there would be characters we didn't know on here, but I didn't suspect this person.
We're gonna say if neither three of us remember, we'll do a search and then we'll be like, all right, he's not worth talking.
You guys do a. I'm gonna throw them in who. You guys do a search and don't even mention it if it's not interesting. What you
Rook was in the red hand.
Mr. Gladly.
Fuck this guy. Put him in F for
douchebag.
No!
Mr. Gladly.
I'm not. I refuse. I think Mr. Gladly is so good for the story.
Oh no, he's good for the story. I think he's a douchebag, but he's good for the story.
Yeah, he is good for the story, but fuck him.
Whenever it comes to a character, you need to balance in your heart like which stood out to you, how much you hate them.
Nah, fuck you. I'm keeping no points in this tier list.
Let's do D. Let's throw him in D.
I think my favorite moment with him was during the Leviathan fight. There's a moment when Taylor has Armsmaster's halberd, and she goes into a bunker where Leviathan's slaughtering people, and she sees like Leviathan is about to destroy Mr. Gladly, and she sees Mr. Gladly is hunkered up with a girlfriend, and I think this is a moment where we really kind of get to hit on Taylor might not have the classically heroic mindset, because like Superman wouldn't give a fuck, right? He would just save Mr. Gladly even if Mr. Gladly was an asshole.
Was Leviathan like mid attacking the bunker? I thought he was nearby.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, he was like I think he was like in the bunker.
Jesus.
And like it's like if Mr. Gladly was an asshole to Superman, right? Superman would just save Mr. Gladly. But Taylor saw him with a girlfriend, and her first thought was like, someone like Mr. Gladly doesn't deserve a girlfriend. And then she was like, I don't know if I want to save him. And then she's like, I feel like an asshole because I don't want to save him. And she does all this thinking. And so I like him as a device for that.
Rune gets a who from me.
Rune.
Yeah, she shows up in one fight.
No, Rune is pretty cool. He is a part of the white supremacists.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the most screen time she gets is a few paragraphs where she's fighting like Taylor and Regent, and she's floating on a big rock, and Regent's about to make her fall off, and Taylor's like, don't fucking kill her. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna make you fall in 5 seconds. Make sure there's something under you.
Yo.
She's all right. I thought her power was cool.
Let's throw her in E, whatever.
Yeah.
Nyx and Nyx, I can never put the two apart. Like, this was a bad move. In the audiobook, I don't remember who these characters are now, but while listening to the audiobook, I was so confused on who was who.
Yeah. This fucked me up.
Wait, these were two different characters? I thought they just recruited Slaughterhouse 9 members.
These characters...
No, they're twin sisters.
These characters are twins. These characters are twin sisters. One is a Vegas cape, and one is in the Slaughterhouse 9.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw them in D just because of Wild Bow's. I mean, he didn't know it would be audio booked one day, but it annoyed me. Night Hag.
So Nyx with an I, hers just turned into smoke, and Nyx with a Y, hers turned into like poison smoke.
Which one of these did like Clock Blocker kill, which was pretty fucked up?
I don't fucking know.
I think
like there's a character who Clock Blocker's like, we're not gonna kill you, and then they kill him. And I was like, oh no, my sweet boy.
You know what confused me so fucking bad the first and second time I was reading, and then probably like a third time when I was listening to the audiobook, is so one's a Vegas cape, right? And one's in the Slaughterhouse 9. So they fight the Slaughterhouse 9000 and they kill Nyx. And then Taylor goes on her raid to the Cauldron base, and the Vegas capes are there, and satirical and shit.
And Nyx.
And it says Nyx is there, and she has like almost the exact same power. And I was like, number one, I thought we killed this bitch. Number two, why the fuck is she with the Vegas capes?
I just thought the Vegas capes were shady.
Night Hag.
Night Hag is Slaughterhouse 9000, I think. I think she makes illusions.
I'm gonna put down a hard rule on myself. Most of those Slaughterhouse 9000 characters are D tier. If you're not in the original Slaughterhouse 9, I probably don't care about you.
Yeah.
And by original, I mean narratively speaking. in
Yeah,
the story.
like
Yeah,
by original, I mean exclusively the most recent.
Yes. Nero's the guy from the interludes, or like the epilogue.
Huh?
Nero's the guy
Nero.
from the epilogue that Imp fucks with, right?
Oh, that's right. And she thought his name was Nemo, so she was making all
Yes.
these fish puns, and he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I mean, there's not much to him. He's a memorable character mostly because of Imp, so I'm gonna say D.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nero's when we meet the demon children too.
Or like, yeah, all the kids that Imp
Yeah.
like took on.
The heartbroken kids.
Yeah,
Murden was the wizard dude, right?
yeah, he gets to do some cool stuff. I think he's mentioned before Arc 17 with the Travelers, but he shows up in there a lot.
He was the leader of the Chicago Protectorate team.
Didn't do much in the story for me. I'm just gonna speed up my vote.
He didn't do a whole lot.
I remember him being strong. He's a strong character.
Yeah, he's
He
really
took
strong.
part in the Leviathan fight, but was eventually taken out of the fight, seen at the hospital. Post Slaughterhouse 9, during the battle with Echidna, Murden told Tattletale that trying to open a portal to Earth, Aelith, was too dangerous and that they didn't know if it would work.
Sounds like a D to me, y'all.
Yeah, put him in D.
All
yeah,
right.
he doesn't appear after that.
Because we are 41 minutes in, and we got hella characters to go.
You're all right,
Perdition.
you're all right. Dude, Cody? Let's go.
Oh,
Put him
this
in
is
A.
Cody.
I like Cody. Yeah,
Wait,
Cody.
Cody?
Hold on, watch your mouth. You don't like Cody. You respect him as a character. No
Yeah,
one
I think
likes
he's an
Cody.
awesome character.
God, man, Cody got the biggest what the fuck for me in the series, maybe, where he, like, in the middle of the most dangerous Behemoth fight, he kills, he tries to kill Tattletale and Accord.
And then
He does kill Accord.
I think he does kill Accord, right?
Yeah, good, because Accord sucks. Cody is a B tier, like, shitster.
Shit, man. If it was up to
Why
me, he'd
did
be
he
in
kill
A,
Accord?
but I'll put him in B. I love that motherfucker.
He killed Accord because Accord sold him off. Like, Trickster had to turn Perdition.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember.
God, no, dude,
And, like-
that chapter with the Young Bond is so fascinating. He's got to be an A tier character.
Yeah, it like because he does so much. Because not only do we get to know the Yongbon through someone we can kind of relate with, he's an asshole, but
We know
He's-
why and how he got here, so that helps.
yeah, and we learn about the Yongbon through him, where it's like because he's like foreign, they'll just never listen to any suggestions he throws out.
His emotions, like his lacking of fitting in with the Yongbon, but still wanting to fit in, even though he knows it's a bad idea. Like, what a good written chapter that was.
And that's such a bombshell when you read like the first sentence, you see the name Cody, and you're like, what?
Yeah, you're right. I think I want to give him A.
And
What
I also
was
like
his
this fight
power
with
again? Was
Trickster.
it to trap somebody in a time loop?
Or so he can choose a person and rewind them like 3 or 4 seconds, but it also rewinds their memories.
Yeah.
Which when he was fighting Trickster, it was really interesting because like I think Trickster threw him against a wall and it hurt. So Cody rewound himself, but he didn't remember that Trickster threw him against a wall. So Trickster just did it again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Murder Rat, who I just feel bad for. So they
Oh,
get
dude.
they get a pity C tier.
Yeah. So is
Wait, no, hold on, because Mouse Protector is another character in this tier list.
yeah, Murder Rat. I think specifically is Mouse Protector merged with someone else.
Ravager.
Ravager.
That's not really a character. That is a tool of war.
Yeah, these are murder rats are like fodder enemies.
Yeah. Mouse Protector, though, I think is just really cute, and I like seeing her in the Chevalier flashback. And then
She's so it's like she's probably like the most positive character in this story. She's just always having a good time, and then it's so sad because you see a murder rat before you ever see Mouse Protector.
Yeah.
So whenever you do see her, it just feels so sad.
I'm gonna say C. Because she made
Yeah.
a healthy impact.
Yeah,
Mad Cap.
Mad Cap. Oh, is that what Assault's name was before he
Yep.
was Assault?
Yep.
Assault's
Mad
kind
Cap-
of a shitty character.
Why did they choose? Why did they
Assault-
choose to use Madcap instead of
don't know.
Assault on this tier list?
Maybe I don't know. I'm thinking he's a D tier character because like his interlude is the most cuttable in the story. He doesn't really do anything interesting after his partner dies.
Wait, was it that his backstory just told? Like the backstory of
'Cause
him
the
was told
backstory-
just because Battery was getting killed in the background while Taylor had insomnia.
Yes.
because that's the thing. It was actually Battery's interlude, but that's where we got Madcap's backstory, and then either that arc or the next arc is where Battery dies. I think.
Yeah, no,
but
it's
Willard's right.
it's that
like-
same arc.
So like,
Oh, the
'Cause, like-
reason why is because we're finding out more heroes. Sorry, I'm so sorry for cutting you off, Bradley.
no, you're good.
The reason why is because when you're reading the story, Battery's interlude is when we find out even more common heroes got the serum.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we found out that she got the culture thing, and we found out, I think, through her interlude that like they'll explicitly give you a serum if you have like a nemesis, like someone you want to take down or something.
I think
But
I think Madcap is a symptom of
Yeah.
too much world building.
Willer is right. So for me, there's no chapter that I would want to take out because I do enjoy reading pretty much every chapter in the story. But if I had to take out a chapter, like if I was forced to, it probably would be Battery's interlude. I don't think you're gonna miss a whole lot by taking it out.
Who the fuck is Bryce Kiley?
That is so. I think it's Sierra, the like redheaded girl that works under Taylor. That's her little brother that they went to rescue from the
Nah,
merchant.
he's a shit. He's a shit. Throw him in D.
He's a shit.
He gets,
D, really?
Yeah. You think an E?
I don't give a fuck about this
Wait,
dude.
wait,
I
wait.
was gonna put him in F.
Didn't he run away from their safe group to join the merchants?
Actually,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of
Isn't he a piece of shit?
He did he get anal by the bottle? Is that him?
Yeah, dude. So, well,
Yeah,
I don't know
dude.
about that, maybe, but it is a kind of an interesting reveal when Taylor actually gets to talk to him, because Sierra, and I know people are gonna hate me in the comments if I get Sierra and the other one, I think Charlotte, mixed up,
Oh
but
shit.
I don't. So, because they're both fucking teenage girls who work under Taylor, but I'm pretty sure it's Sierra. So whenever Sierra is like, "Hey, rescue my brother,"
Yeah.
she makes it sound like he's this poor little boy who the merchants kidnapped and he needs help. But then they find him and he's like, "No, I fucking ran away. I hate doing chores and shit. I wanted to be with the merchants."
People, no, he's a shit. Yeah, throw him in that.
He is a shit though.
Lustrom.
Okay, this character is in the birdcage. She is a militant feminist person who I think got put in the birdcage because she got a little too extreme.
Okay,
I know
I remember her description when she gets released.
Taylor's mom used to like be a follower of hers, and then after she kind of got a little too extreme and went to the birdcage, her mom's like, "Okay, let's stop
That's a
fucking
cool
with that
little
anymore."
world building moment. That's a fatty. Mock show.
Mock show is Romp. Why is that character on here twice?
Okay, so
Yeah.
we put him next to Romp,
Yeah.
which we put up here. Okay.
All right, what's up?
Well, I guess it's more interesting. Romp is more interesting than Mock Show because that's like
Yeah.
post
Yeah.
character development. Lizard Tail was part of like the merchants.
Who the fuck is Lizard Tail?
All right, that's a who.
That's a who. That's a who if I ever saw one.
Miasma is a slaughterhouse.
Right? Right? Yeah, it says Slaughterhouse 9 can turn into an undetectable form that spews odorless gas, causing headaches, watery eyes, blindness, and comas.
Yeah, he can go into E. I don't remember
Dude,
his power.
I didn't remember this motherfucker.
It's not like Screamer where I remember the power adding to a cool moment. I don't think.
Yeah,
Miasma.
I didn't even remember the power.
Masamune.
I think this is a guy from Japan. He's a tinker who specializes in mass production, I think. And I think he's the reason why the PRP all over the world is able to actually have containment foam sprayers.
All right, that gets him a D tier.
Containment foam too good.
Hashtag foamed. Who is Leonid?
Leonid?
Who the fuck is that? It says... What? Who is this?
Whatever. Lab Rat? Lab Rat, I remember. This is a character who we know.
Oh, that's the dude who put the thing on Taylor's wrist that turned her into a monster, right?
Yep.
Is that right?
Dude, Lab Rat C tier.
That was fucking
Yeah,
cool.
sure, whatever.
Lab Rat turns Taylor into a spider. Come on.
That was pretty fucking cool.
You know what? This is at the same time that Willer and Joe were having a bad experience with JoJo and baby wasps. It's when I got through that part. And I was like, is everybody just getting turned into bugs now?
Yeah.
Jacklight. We already know Iron is a who. We discussed that earlier.
Jacklight. A member of the ambassadors. Put him in who?
In Genway, please help.
Oh, this is pronounced Ingenue, actually.
Oh, Ingenue. She's the one that has like the love, like obsession powers, right?
Oh, I think she can like. What she can do, if she's who I'm thinking of,
He's a succubus.
kind of like she can turn herself, like physically and her personality, into the perfect person for someone.
Yeah, I remember her flirting
manipulates
with
Chevalier.
Chevalier. Yeah.
Chevalier. And Chevalier was an anime protagonist who's like,
I don't know sex.
go away, babe.
I'd say that's like D tier worthy.
That's cool. Like, I feel like you could do like a cool interlude with her.
I bet
if you
she's
wanted
cool.
to.
I bet she's cool in Ward.
She's probably cool as the main character in Ward. I don't know.
Professor Haywire's technology was used by the Simmer. So I remember.
Yeah, he's the one who first discovered there was like more than one world, right? And opened a portal between them.
Yeah, that seems like a F. Like only his impact survives in the story as we know
He
it.
never shows up in the story. He's just mentioned.
Mantellum sounds familiar.
He's a power nullifier who was in the Cauldron base, and he's the only person in the story who was able to nullify Contessa's power, I think.
Yep.
Whoa.
He has an AoE power that creates an increasingly protective layers that block perception powers by blinding shards. Mantellum was the anti-power to Scion.
And
but he didn't do shit.
like
He killed Contessa.
Oh no, he didn't kill her. She's alive at the end.
I know, but they thought they did with him.
He thought he did.
That's the closest anybody ever
Tyler,
got.
you're
It is
scaring me.
interesting because like he's able to nullify Contessa's power, and then for the first time in like 1 or 2 decades, she has to make decisions on her own without her power, and she kind of fucking panics, which was cool. But
Who?
Contessa, but I think that's more on her than it is on Mantellum. He's just a guy, you know.
I mean, he gets dispatched of really easily with Skitter's nano thorn knife.
Okay,
Yeah.
you guys get the. I like when Skinner drops the knife and it just like goes through multiple
Keeps going.
floors.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
Probably killing dozens. Y'all get the vote on Mantellum.
I'll put him in E, I guess.
I got no. My thing about Krieg is I feel like Kuro and Arlong are better villains for the East Blue Saga.
Right?
So, and like
That's a funny
Bradley
joke.
discussed, he goes down far too many times in that arc. So I don't know. Luffy beats him very hard. Who is this guy?
Everybody read One Piece.
He was in Empire 88, and then he fought against Leviathan, but was put out of commission, and then he went back to London. That's all we know about this character.
Isn't he the metal guy? Like
No, that's
like
the
his
Hook
dad?
No, that's Hookwolf.
No, like the leader of Empire 88 who got killed. No, that's
No.
Kaiser.
No,
That's
he's a
Kaiser.
lieutenant along with Hookwolf and Purity,
I'm throwing him in F
but he
because I remember
doesn't
him.
do anything.
He
Not gonna
probably-
lie, I don't remember this dude. I'd put him in F. I don't even remember this dude.
Because I bet you don't even have to tell me he wasted time in those early fights that I don't like in Worm. I just know he did.
I don't know nothing about Krieg.
King, he's like also another character that like we mostly get to see in retrospect. Though he does get revived, right?
Yeah, King does some cool stuff. He was the original founder of the Slaughterhouse 9. And so kind of his pride and joy was Grey Boy, which, okay, so King's ability
Pause.
is if he touches you, pause.
No, his pride and joy was Grey Boy. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, shit. Little sus.
Little
But
sus.
yeah, so if King touched somebody for like the next 24 hours, if he took any like harm, all that harm would go to the people he's touched until they died. And so he was really manipulative of like everybody in the Slaughterhouse Nine, including Jack. And I think the only reason he was able to control Grey Boy is because if Grey Boy used his power on King, it would actually affect one of the people he had touched. And I like the way Jack and Numberman killed him, which I guess at the time Numberman was called Harbinger. But I think what they did is they just started fighting King without giving a fuck about the people they were killing by hurting him. And they just kept hitting him until eventually all the people had died and they were able to hurt him.
Basil Hawkins looking guy. My problem with King is despite being the number 2 hero of the Hero Association, Saitama is just so much cooler. That one's for Tyler.
Everybody read One Punch Man.
Joestar. Or Jouster.
What?
No, I remember Jouster.
Oh shit. I thought that actually said Joestar. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Everybody read JoJo's.
I was like, get the fuck out of here.
This person did something.
I'm sure they did.
Man, whatever.
I'm sure they did. Put him in who?
No, he's like a friendly.
Okay.
I remember
he shows up in the Echidna fight.
Yeah.
He shows up in like almost. He's the team captain of the New York Primary Wards team.
Whatever, man. Hiro, my boy. I don't think we only get to see him die, and we see a little bit of him. Like he gives like a good speech in like a flashback.
Who?
I recall Hiro.
Hiro?
He was the 4th of the Triumvirate.
Yeah, Hiro was the guy who tried.
I wish we got to see more of him, but he was supposed to be a really, really like. I think he was supposed to be kind of like Legend, where he's just like classically heroic.
He was supposed to be like the keystone of the Triumvirate.
I can't justify putting him in D, just because like.
I'll put him in E.
Even his impact post-death is not that interesting. Hoyden. That's a fat who.
I think they're from the Texas wards, maybe. Hold on. They sound familiar. I think they showed up. They're from the
Austin
Texas wards.
Shoutouts.
Big Hoyd's Lid Flippers Ale.
What?
That's somebody's art. That's the art by Uzubat.
Thank you,
on the wiki.
Zubat. Everybody read Google Zubat. Fenja is next. Fenja and Menja are just jobbers to me. Like they're just fodder.
Yeah. One of them died in Slung, but I can't remember which one.
Hoyden's going in Who, and Fenja and Menja are going in like. Honestly, they're probably E. Like they're just fodder. They're memorable though. Like I remember Fenja and Menja.
I definitely remember them.
They turn big, right? What's their deal?
Yeah, they turn big, and I think their strength and durability scales with how big they turn or something.
I'm gonna put them in high E just because they were so prevalent in the first few arcs.
They're only in a few fights, but we clearly remember them. So,
Gavel.
Dude, I love this motherfucker. Put him in like B or something.
Explain yourself.
I love Gavel. So I think he was in the birdcage at one point, and I don't think he was necessarily a bad dude. I think he was someone who was like too into vigilante justice, where he would just like splatter you if he thought you were a bad guy.
Jesus.
He was you didn't pay your parking ticket.
Yeah.
So he's the Punisher.
He had this big ass hammer, and he probably of all the characters who had 1v1s with Scion had the best 1v1 with Scion.
Is he the guy with the gun? Because that's the guy.
No,
he's the guy with the hammer.
This dude had a big ass hammer. And he hit Scion so hard that Scion like carved a groove in the landscape. And he could take hits from Scion because he does what he can do is one, he can only take so much damage from any given attack. Like I think any attack, no matter how hard it is, will do like a paper cut's worth of damage.
He's got a damage ceiling.
Also, he has a damage ceiling, and also he can bestow invincibility to any one object he's touching. So like if he's taking a hit, he could make like his shirt invincible or something. But what he usually does is he extends it to his hammer so that when he hits people with it, with his also super strength, it won't like bend, like it won't break, and he can just launch people like crazy.
I would say that the coolest person who 1v1 Scion was the person with the F gun or the G gun.
The one that launched him into space.
Yeah, that shit was rad.
Cool
that's
too.
some Dragon Ball Z like dramatic finish. I would say that's a C tier worthy character.
I'd live with C. I'd like him in B, but I'll live with C.
Yeah, he's good there.
Just ain't much to
He's
him.
right there with Lab Rat, other golden warning.
Flashbang.
All right. What do we got? What we got?
Nah. Let's just move on to Heartbreaker because he's actually interesting.
Who, right?
Oh, wait,
Wait a second.
wait.
This Flashbang's looking a little familiar now that I think about it.
Flashbang is the husband to Carol Dallin and
Nah.
Victoria Dallin.
That's Warrior's dad.
He's the
War Boys
vegetable.
on Suicide Watch.
Vegetable. What aisle do vegetables go on?
Okay,
Tyler.
Flashbang is kind of cool because he actually, which I know you guys might not give a fuck about Panacea, but he was a big part of her arc because I think following the Leviathan fight, he wasn't brain dead, but like he couldn't do anything himself.
Doesn't he stand up to Bonesaw or like in a way?
So Bones he couldn't do anything himself, and basically the Dallin family was like pissed at Panacea because they knew she could fix him. They knew she could fix the dad,
I'm glad
but
you
she
looked
wouldn't
him up,
do it
because I think that makes him a D tier character at least.
Yeah, like she doesn't want to fuck with brains, and they just resent her because like our father is like this, and you won't fix him even though you can. And Bonesaw's like, no, do it, fix him. And then whenever Amy actually does it, the second he's able to move, he tries to shoot Bonesaw.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah.
So that was cool.
I'm gonna vote him for D. High D.
I'll put him in D.
I put him in high D.
He's
was
above
good
Mr.
character.
Gladly and important to the story, I feel like.
Yeah, put him above Mr. Gladly.
Heartbreaker's so interesting because everything that we hear about Heartbreaker is like very high tier material. We just never really get to see the dude.
All we know is Heartbreaker's fucking dead.
Yeah.
He's fucking dead. Where does he go though?
He's important for other characters' stories, and I love his power.
He made Regent the man he is today, which is
for better or for worse.
Kind of a shitty person, but
I'm loving this fan art of this fan art's pretty great. This is his official image on the wiki.
Let's check it out.
Thank you, Glow Spider.
Tyler, this Fenja and Menja that you posted. That's just Big Regent. That's just Big Regent in your fan art.
Oh, this is great. I love just the text that goes with it, and the fun fact is fun.
We gotta refill our drinks in a second. It's about that time.
I need to go pee also.
Heartbreaker and D. It's kind of iffy. He could go up to C. Like,
Heartbreaker's only talked about, and he's never shown.
He's so memorable. Yeah, he's like a fucking Shanks. All right.
Yeah, he's kind of like Shanks.
Except not a complete asshole. All right, let me get.
All right, I need to go use my
break. Yeah.
Queen of Swords. That's like a whatever character that shows up near the end.
Dude, this bitch was cool.
Really?
So she did this attack against Scion where, so there's a bunch of like
the suites.
There's a bunch of like Person of Blank. I thought they were suits, like cards.
Yeah. Sorry.
But
stupid.
There's a bunch of those motherfuckers, and I hardly remember any of them. But I remember this girl because she had this sword, and she holds it up, and her sword like absorbed the powers of everybody around her, and like turned it into a little bullet that she shot out the end of her sword at Scion. And I thought it was kind of cool for how little she was in the story. I'd put her an E still, but like, it was cool.
All the other suits are gonna go in F. She gets to go.
Yeah,
in
probably.
She was there when Leviathan received fins from the Simmer. I think that was like part of her power.
I don't fucking know.
She does die though, because she appears in Gleistic Uane's Ghosts.
Getaway.
Who's
that
this?
Seems like a who?
That seems like a who to me, dog.
Let's talk about Grace. Wait, didn't we talk about Grace?
Hold on. So maybe Grace is not Cuff. I think they're different. No, Grace is a martial artist. She was in the Echidna fight.
Yeah.
That's Cuff.
Right? Oh yeah, no, Grace is Cuff, right?
I think Cuff isn't on the list. We were just talking about Cuff early, and we might get confused.
No, okay, Cuff and Grace are different people.
What? Oh, but
yeah, Grace.
Did they have a thing? Someone has a thing with someone.
Wait, right? Okay, no, Grace is a martial artist. I remember that.
But I thought Cuff was also, or like, I thought Cuff was a martial artist.
Cuff punches metal.
Yeah,
I can punch metal.
Yeah, but when he punches it breaks.
Grace used to be in the Chicago Wards, and she was a martial artist. And that's basically her ability. She's like a Dragon Ball character, like Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z, like Dragon Ball.
She went against Behemoth. She incorporated PRT chainmail into her costume.
That's Cuff though, right?
No, that's
No, it is Grace. Okay,
Jesus Christ, do I even like Cuff then?
So
Who's who?
Grace is her cape name. That's not even her civilian name. I don't think she show up after Echidna? I don't know.
Okay. Not that I'm aware of. Florette is a Vegas cape that only shows up at Golden Morning, and we hear about her then. You can put her in F tier or who.
Who we wouldn't have remembered. Y'all feeling all right
Florette.
with D for Grace?
Yeah, why not?
She showed up a lot.
Is she the one who's scared in the Behemoth fight? Because I really like that character.
No, I think that's Cuff.
Oh my god, we'll never know. We're gonna say it's Cuff. Sun, Dancer, S tier.
Hey, Travelers are good.
Travelers,
Dancer,
automatic A tier plus.
Yeah,
I liked Mars.
because she, of all the Travelers, I feel like a lot of them have had their morality just beaten down, but she seems to still have a conscience, you know?
Yeah.
I love how she helps Skitter and hates her so much.
Yeah. I like how she begrudgingly goes all out and just erases Echidna, showing she was holding back this whole time, but it's not even a triumphant moment. It's just such a easy kill that but it's so crushing for her to do it, and then she just walks through that portal.
That's the thing. It's so sad. She's definitely one of those instances of superhero fiction where it's not whether or not they can win. It's at what cost would they win. And she has one of the most immediately lethal powers in the entire story, but she doesn't want to burn people to death. So she can hardly use it.
The thing with her mom, her reluctance to use her power, how she joined the gaming crew, I'm voting S, y'all. I love the Travelers, and I love Sundancer.
I like Sundancer a lot. I would vote her A. She doesn't really stick out for me. I would do high A.
Dude,
I think she's one of the better.
I'd have her in either, honestly. I could see her in S. I like her, but high A would be cool too. It's up to you, Willer. You have the mouse.
I'll push the muscle. I'll let Tyler muscle me later.
I really love the dialogue right before Sundancer uses her power in the story for the first time, because Lung has already been fighting for 20 minutes at this point. He's covered in really hot fire, and Sundancer's like, okay, I'll use my ability. And Taylor's like, you have a fire power, right? He's immune to fire. He's probably immune to your power. And she's like, yeah, I doubt it.
Trickster, also S for me.
So
yeah,
I'm going to say Trickster A for one reason, is the way this character is described is a goddamn neckbeard.
Dude, he's such a neckbeard, and that's why I love him.
I hate the neckbeard design. That's it.
No, he's so slimy and manipulative, but he still has me seeing his side of the story.
He's not even good at being manipulative, though.
I mean, it works on the Travelers.
That's because they're all weak little... Except for the guy who flicks bullets. They're all weak little bitches.
At every step of the way, he always prioritizes this girl he has a crush on over his friends.
He is a simp lord.
If you had ever given him the benefit of the doubt, that all goes out the window when we catch up to the present day in the Echidna fight, and he turns on people, and he's fighting with Echidna instead of with everybody else.
Trickster, oh my god, this character's so good, man. He's such a simp he's written so well that you are on his side even though he's being a simp bitch a lot of the time.
I was never on his side. I wanted him to die.
Every time? He didn't get you even a few times?
He gets taken over by teacher and turns into a vegetable,
so
and then Kepri kills him during the Golden Morning, and I was like, good, finally.
The irony's so powerful, because the manipulative asshole gets manipulated by teacher, and then he gets manipulated by Kepri.
He's not even wanting to be manipulative. He just prioritizes Noelle so much, and he's a teenager. Y'all, I'm voting S. What are y'all voting? Where is this guy?
I would put him in S.
That's
I yield.
I like him.
Genesis, I would say, is A. I really like her.
Of the Travelers, she's on the lower end, but she's still a Traveler, so she's still good.
Dude, Genesis has... Okay, I do like Genesis a lot because she keeps her morality along with Sundancer, I feel like. But because she's in her wheelchair, she's so much like less in control of what she's capable of doing, and just like
and a lot more bitter. But I think she handles it relatively well.
Also, she's the one who is able to break the spirit of the warrior.
Yeah, like I think
the partner illusion.
They used her to help make the illusions, which I think they used a few things to do that.
I mean, we're gonna talk about the real hero of the story in a little bit. He's like 5 away.
And Genesis, it was really tragic for her because whenever they found the vials in the Traveler arc, they were talking about, hey, these vials say they can cure, they have a chance to cure illness. Like if you have cancer, whenever you get your powers from the vial, it can also cure the cancer. And so Genesis, I think one of the reasons she was okay with taking the vial, she was like, maybe I'll be able to walk again.
She does.
And she kind of can, but she can't walk with her own body. She has to fall asleep and make one. And it's so sad.
Put
her in S along with the other ones.
Really?
You know what? This is where your muscle comes in. I'm totally fine with a tier list filled with the Travelers in S tier. Here's the thing, Ballistic is also S. I think Ballistic is so cool.
I love this dude.
The Travelers. So we're talking about their morality. Their stances never change, and I'm just sitting here like their stances never change because they are not a part of this world. They do not give a shit about what happens to them.
The level of not giving a shit that Ballistic has is so good because he just wants to get back, and he now hates all his friends. And when he gets back, he has a pimped out mansion because his life, his heart is just his mentality is gone. I'm just gonna use my powers, be a rich ass motherfucker. There's nothing else. He's so nihilistic almost.
Him and Sundancer had complete opposite ideas of what they wanted to do when they got back. Because Sundancer's like, I'm never gonna use my power again when I get home. I want to be done with this cape shit. And Ballistic's like, I mean, I want to go home because fuck this version of Earth. But when I do get home, I'm gonna be a superstar.
And he does it.
And then he gets taken away by Kepri.
Does he die in the end?
I don't know. I don't think he dies, but he gets taken away. And I'm just he's probably so mad.
Only one Traveler dies, I think, and that's Trickster, because I think all the rest of them went back to their original Earth except for Trickster.
Another thing I really like about Ballistic, one, I think he's the character in Worm that's closest to me in personality in a lot of ways. Before he gets really dour in present time in Worm.
Yeah.
He still has some morality. He's against. He doesn't willy-nilly rocket people off. And I remember he feels uncomfortable killing Cherish from a distance because she looks like an old classmate, right? I thought that was really interesting.
That was such a good character moment for him where he hesitates and, he's like, oh, no, he looks like that girl from 7th grade. And Trickster's like, who? Who does she look like? And he's like, oh, he looks like, Sally.
Madison or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and Trickster's like, no, he doesn't. You're just imagining it. And they have this argument. And Ballistic just feels so human right there.
Yeah, he's going. Look at this. This is the perfect Sleeper and the Travelers.
Sleeper and the Travelers.
Fault Line is way.
So
whatever.
Fault Line, I fell a little more flat than I think. Well, I'll go 1 or 2.
Yeah, she seemed like she was gonna be really significant. She's one of the lesser important story threads. I feel like
there were many iterations of his rough drafts of Worm, where her crew was going to be the main characters, and I think the main plot line was going to be them trying to figure out what the fuck is up with Cauldron, because that's what they do in this story. But I don't know, she didn't show up a lot. And within her crew, what's a lot more interesting is people like Gregor the Snail and Labyrinth.
I agree. She is the least, I hate to say it, I'm gonna vote the other ones as C, but I think she's D, to be honest.
I think she's D.
More like Flatline.
Yeah. Within her crew, she's the least interesting.
She would be the highest in D right now, though, by far, I think.
She's the leader of her crew, and she's the least interesting in it.
She's the leader of the crew, and you don't know her well.
Yeah.
Spitfire, I do remember this name.
Spitfire was in Fault Line's crew, right? She does exactly what she says on the tin. She spits fire out of her mouth.
I think that's a E character. She's pretty.
She's
easy.
the E. Get her out of here.
Oliver is the only I think he's B. I think Oliver is B.
Yeah. Oliver's interesting because what I think a lot of people miss, and I didn't get this by myself. I think I first saw it on Reddit. Oliver is, for people who might not remember, he's the forgotten member of the bunch of the travelers. Usually he's back at Coil's base. Sometimes I think he sees Noelle. He has a very subtle power, right? Basically, every time he sees a person, his appearance very subtly changes based on his new idea of what a person looks like. And I think Taylor said it was subtle enough to where if you saw him several times a day, you wouldn't really notice it happening. But if you went a few days without seeing him, you wouldn't recognize him. He shows up in Golden Morning. Taylor grabs Oliver. She doesn't, I think, name him by name, but she mentions someone with his power.
The shapeshifter or something.
Yeah. And so one thing I really like in this story is there's a lot of times where, for example, during the interludes where you see what the entities are thinking, you can see them using abilities that we see people have in the story. Like the interlude where we follow the Thinker for a little bit, she straight up uses Dinah's power, where she looks through all the possible realities and gets percent chances. I believe Oliver's ability is the shard that they use to make their avatars, because I think Science specifically said he wanted to choose a form that humans would identify with, and that's what Oliver's power does. So that's for me, dog, and that's why he was able to make. That's why they were able to mimic the image of Scion's partner.
B might be a little high, but I think C is a solid argument for me.
He's cool. I like him. I'll just see.
Okay. Queen of Wands, whatever, man.
Who the fuck?
Neuter is the guy who gets you high, bruh.
Yeah, dog. Yeah,
bro.
Neuter has one good moment, and it's during the Empire 88 fight.
Yeah, when they're fighting Lung, right?
Yeah.
It's Taylor saves his life during that, and then the next time they meet is at the merchant raid, and
he lets her go.
He's kind of short with Taylor. He doesn't attack her or anything, but whenever they're talking, he doesn't give her a lot of leeway, and she specifically thinks man, you think he'd be a little bit more appreciative after I saved his fucking life.
Worm is fun. Neuter's a D, I guess. I don't think he's not as forgettable
terrible,
as an E character. Anything. Yeah, I think that's fair. Psychosoma. That's a cool name. Seems like a who to me, dog.
Hold on.
Prism.
Hold on.
I think Prism's the one that's in the 28 hospital scene where they find.
So Prism was fucking Triumph's girlfriend, I think. Prism, I think, can make holographic duplicates of herself.
Yeah, she's in a fight right in that arc, as I recall.
Yeah, Taylor, Trickster, and Genesis raid the mayor's home.
It's not looking good for me, dog.
Yeah, and then I think they didn't realize that Triumph was the mayor's son, and they get fucked.
That was a cool little arc. Pretender.
So here's the thing. I know who he is, but
I don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is. I would put him in F. I don't really give a fuck.
I'm gonna put him in F because he introduced an aspect of narratively. I think he's a bad character because Taylor kills Alexandria, and we mentioned this in our podcast. That's huge. You just took out one of the biggest weapons against the Endbringers.
Yeah.
And then Pretender is an easy way to be okay, we still have Alexandria, so it's not a total stop.
Yeah. Maybe someone in the comments who I'm sure there's one dude who's Pretender's biggest fan.
I'm sorry, man.
Tell us why he's the best. I don't know.
Not as much as the fucking Neuter fans out there who are mad at us. Fu Conti, I'm gonna assume this is the Indian guy who Taylor has those interesting conversations with. No.
That's Fierce.
Who the fuck is Fu Conti?
I have to look up this one. I gotta look up this one. Fu Conti.
Oh man.
Who we got?
What the?
I don't think he shows up on the. I don't think he's even showing up on the wiki, dog.
Wait, I'm talking. Yeah, I've been talking. This is a random person. This is a who. This is a random one of Gleistic Yuane's ghosts.
Whatever, man. Fuck off. It's
Yeah,
probably
okay,
the one.
I just found it.
It's probably the one
Yeah.
who like kneels down or whatever. Topsy, who's
Yeah,
that?
the only info on the wiki is taken by Glastic Winye. That's the only info.
Topsy, who's that?
Topsy is.
You mentioned them earlier.
So I think Taylor was like staking out a building, and the only reason I really remember this chapter is because Taylor took her Alexandria lunchbox on the stakeout, and then after looking at it for a few hours, she's like, "This was a bad idea," because I actually kind of feel bad about killing this person. And then the second half of that chapter, she fights Topsy and Moksho. Topsy can turn gravity upside down.
Cool.
And he's not very cool at all. Put him in like E or F or some shit. I don't know.
He sounds right. Ursa Aurora.
Hey, put this person in D. They create force fields in the shapes of bears.
Hey, all right. That's all right.
I told Ryan asked what I was doing, and I said we're ranking every worm character, and he's like, "You better not fuck me on this tier list, from."
Sorry. If anything happens, you can throw me on the.
He's like, "You better not fuck me," because I think I know who his favorite characters are.
Yeah, I think I do too. Ziggurat. I do remember this name.
He's an early draft of
Draft
of worm predating the creation of the Undersiders.
No way.
What?
I thought he was part of the. I thought he was affiliated with China, and he like makes rocks or something.
Yo, the drinks are hitting a little bit. Screener.
I don't know, dude. What? That's not a character.
Oh,
That's not
Victor.
a
I know
character.
Victor. Victor exists.
Wait, what is Screener?
No, don't worry about it. He's
I looked up Screener on the
Sleeper's
fucking.
cousin.
I looked up Screener on the wiki. It's not on there. So whoever made this tier list made that shit up.
He's like a PHO. What is that called? The thing where they put all the fan
Parahumans Online.
Parahumans Online character.
Victor is the guy they used to test Gru's powers on.
Dude,
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up, man. They
Either
did Victor
way.
dirty.
E rank, plot device,
Yeah.
terrible, flat basic character.
D rank because of the morality of taking over Victor was a cool
They discussed it for a while.
Yeah.
Speaking of PHO, by the way, for people who aren't aware, and I just found out about this a month or two ago. I wish I found out sooner. Every Sunday, Every Sunday, Wildbow does something called Parahuman Online Sundays. Where on the subreddit, he'll make a post formatted as if it's a PHO forum post. And it's just like fun world building shit where, like, I don't know, let's say it's someone posting on like Nevada's Parahumans Online forum, and they're like, did anybody hear those fucking explosions down the block? What the hell was that? And I don't know, it's fun world building shit if you haven't checked it out.
I've seen those
And I don't
threads.
think
I didn't know Wildbow was making them. That's cool.
And I don't think it has spoilers for either of the stories of all the ones I've seen.
That's cool. Knave of Clubs, whatever. Vex?
Now put Knave of Clubs in who? Get that shit out of here.
I mean, like, I remember where the story he fits in. I just don't give a shit about the card people. But you know what? Because you hate him so much, he doesn't get to go and eat with the rest.
I don't even hate him. I just don't know who the fuck he is.
You just singled him out so good. Vex. Who's this?
Who is this?
I'm pretty sure this is the guy in Team Chaotix with Charmy the Bee and
I think you're right. Y'all,
Epsio the Chameleon.
look, if we all react by saying who is this, I think that's like a sentence.
Okay, Wanton is the Walking Storm guy. I can't be wrong this
Yes.
time. It has to be him.
Yes,
Okay.
it's him.
He didn't he dies, right?
No, actually. So during the Echidna fight, you know, Echidna like slightly alters the power of all the clones.
Yes.
One of the group clones could like the darkness was also radioactive. While Wanton was in his like storm form, he got hit by the radioactive shit. And so people are like, oh my God, if he turns back into a person, all the radioactive shit's going to be in his body. And they're like, okay, we can technically get him to a place to like disinfect all the radioactive shit. The problem is that's going to take a long time. And the longest he's ever held this form was like 7 minutes. And they're just like, well, he's just going to have to set a new record.
Okay, this is the guy I was talking about where like Tecton has to leave him behind. Okay, I like this guy, and I like what he brought to the story because that
he's
stuck
all right.
with me really well. D?
Yeah.
I love
let's
this
put him
guy,
in.
D.
Yeah.
Walken's really cool. They get a lot of action.
All right, Heidi.
So
All right, fuck it.
Winter was she was an old member of the Slaughterhouse Nine, and I think she was in a relationship with like the vampirism dude from the old Slaughterhouse Nine.
Winter's one of the
Crimson.
most memorable of the bunch that I don't care about. So that's
Because it's not explicitly ice. I think it's like in general, she's able to dampen things, which includes temperature. But I think also people like lose their fighting spirit and shit. It's and she like makes projectiles slower. Just in general, she dampens things.
What are y'all thinking?
D for dampening.
E for dampening.
That seems
No.
How
Sorry.
about E for
E-
dampening.
E for dampening. Sorry.
E for E dampening. Okay, hold on one second.
Oh, time to Google this motherfucker. This
This
name-
this is a fat who.
Kismet looks familiar.
It does. I feel like he's the guy who killed everyone with Farseer.
Let me see.
A balanced thinker killed by Fonda and crushed 24. He wore a white robe and a hard hat and a
Who
faceless
the
mask with only
fuck is
slits and
Felix?
eyes.
Excuse me.
Who the fuck is Felix?
Put him in
Swoop?
who? Put him in
Yeah,
who?
Kismet was an Indian
Put him
king.
in who?
Felix Swoop though?
Who?
Wait, I think Felix Swoop is the guy who can grant pyrokinesis to birds. And he's
what?
like, they're like phoenixes. So there was a team where I think it was in New York where there was a group of parahumans who pretended they were wizards, and he's like, I'm the
Yes.
phoenix guy. I make phoenixes.
Those guys are so lame. I'm gonna throw him in F, y'all. That's such a silly
I don't.
Wait. Can we put him in D? Because his power is a piece of shit.
All
It's
right,
kind of
all right,
funny.
all right.
It's a little funny.
It's turning around on me. I'm starting to feel it.
He sets birds on fire. Can you imagine that? He's like got a flock of pigeons, just like in New York.
I like the
Oh.
I like the idea that he cannot control the birds, so you just see a bunch of crows on the wires and they just catch on flames uselessly. It doesn't-
Dude. So Khalifa de Pero.
he's a
this dude's
he's
fucking-
a Brazilian cape.
Yeah, it's cool. He's only in one chapter, and it was when what's the fucking Imbringer with the time circles?
Konsu.
Kansu. Yeah, he teleports to South America, and Khalifa de Pero's there. And I don't know, for some reason he was really memorable to me. He uses a giant spear and he has like aerokinesis or something.
Nice. He gets to be
and-
the highest in E.
Doesn't it translate to like Dog King or something?
Well, that's Pero is not dog in Portuguese, so I feel like Wabo might have fucked that up.
I don't know. Is he Brazilian?
I think he might
He
just
might
be
not
South
be-
American. He might.
Is
Just
it?
Be South
Is it pedo butt?
No.
No, that's Bunda or Kulu. Excuse me, Campanile?
Campanile? What?
Campanile. I know Kozin. Kozin's a salty bitch.
Yeah, that's who Gruen's updating, right?
Yeah, they're whatever character. That's like a D tier to me. Yeah, we all.
Who the fuck is Campanile?
Don't worry.
Campanile.
He's a Chicago protectorate.
Cranial.
Dude, okay. I know who Campanile is. He's the dude. I'm pretty sure he's the dude who, when Taylor joined the Chicago Wards, he did the prank that made it look like he had a big ass schlong in his pants.
D tier. D tier. That was a nice. That was like one of the nicer moments in that entire like chunk of the story. I liked it. I like it because the other wards were really into it. Like they really liked the prank.
Cranial is a tinker specializing in neurology who sold memories and skills on the black market, including bad memories.
Or
They
this
keep
many
them from
characters.
people
I don't
wishing
remember.
to get rid of them while giving them to the desiring to experience a trigger event.
Actually, you know what? This isn't on me for not remembering these characters. The dude who made this tier list explicitly
Shout
chose
outs.
the most out there characters.
No, shout outs to this guy. He got everybody is here.
I guess
Everybody's
so.
here.
Crimson,
King Crimson.
Knave of Hearts. Throw him in
Hey,
E.
no, Crimson is the vampire. What are you talking about?
Then he's E then instead of F.
Yeah, because like doesn't he? Did he have a big sword too, or am I crazy?
I thought he did.
That's not, but he's like a red. He looks like a red Hulk, right? Or he's like giant, engorged, and he
did
drinks
have a
blood
sword.
and gets stronger, right?
Yo, why are
Did he
there
have a
so
sword?
many characters in this? God damn.
All right.
If they
Yeah,
at
he
least
has
had
a sword.
if they at least had character designs, we might be able to appreciate that. But I know
Damn, he had a
Cuff.
6-foot sword.
Cuff is the character I like, and I would put her in
That's
B
our
tier.
girl. Put her in B. She's fun.
Yeah, we talked about her plenty at this point. Accidentally.
Metallokinetic.
Carnal.
Who the Cardinal? Excuse me?
Seems like a who, but Custodian.
Hold on. Colonel
God.
is a supervillain. Colonel thought he had a place in the Slaughterhouse 9 and approached them only to fail their test. In the Prophet were then made into an amalgamated cape by Bonesaw.
Get fucked.
Custodian's interesting because he doesn't have a character, but he has a function in the story.
Yeah, it's interesting because they don't have a body. They're like wind, and they're like everywhere, right?
I think because they're part of Kepri, and like they're one of the three Kepri pieces.
Nah. Because the 3 Kepri was Taylor, the Clairvoyant, and Doormaker.
Oh,
Custodian was in the-
Custodian's just a wind guy.
Custodian was the ghost.
Yeah, Custodian was like borderline a ghost in the Cauldron facility.
I think that's D tier worthy.
That's kind of cool.
I'm gonna put C tier. Like, this was a really cool character that, like,
Above Nyx at least.
yeah, they had a lot of like story, a lot of like concept around them. They were really powerful.
It seems like he's a conceptual C tier because he's just that interesting. Then, right?
Yeah,
All right, I can live with that.
that works.
So I want to go back to Carnal. This was in the Slaughterhouse 9000, I believe. To help her name Pagoda and then force her to kill the creature using her power. Okay, Carnal was the infinite regenerator that could only be killed by Panacea.
Tyler, is that actually Carnal fan art?
Yeah.
Who the fuck drew fan art of Carnal?
Well,
Hey,
actually,
leave him
that's
alone,
Pagoda, who is the combination of Carnal and Prophet.
Okay.
The cape who thought he was Jesus born.
Okay.
Yo, Dispatch. I do remember Dispatch.
Wait. Okay, I do remember him. He was in the Behemoth fight, and I think he can make like a sphere where if you're in it, time is sped up for you and everyone in it. And I think they did it to like come up with a plan to fight Behemoth.
Seems like a strong E.
He was a Houston cape.
Yo, what's up? What's up,
Word.
Houston?
Dodge. Oh my god, Exalt's a name that came up so much, but like it was a point of the story where I didn't know like what their deal was. It was just
Dodge
name
is a
that
part
came up.
of Toy Box, the black market organization.
Yeah, put him in who? Put him in who? Get him out of here.
Exalt. Do y'all remember this guy?
I know I've heard
Chicago
it.
Ward?
It's brought up a lot, but like
No. He's the intense interim leader of the Houston Protectorate team.
Oh, man, whatever. Dovetail. Is that the? No, I'm thinking of Canary. Is Dovetail a who, or is that?
It's. I know I've heard it, but I just can't. If you told me to tell you who it was, I wouldn't be able to know.
That's fair, man. You can blame it on the alcohol if anything. If anyone gets too pissed.
Yeah, you know what?
Doormaker goes on C because he's one of the 3 pieces of Kipri, like we were saying.
Yeah. Just help
Wait,
save the
hold
world,
on.
baby.
Hold on. Where's the dad? Where's
Danny?
Danny Ebert's
No, where is Victoria? Where's Dad
B.
Dallin? Where's
Flashbang.
Flashbang?
Flashbang's in D.
That's the vegetable aisle. That's where Doormaker goes.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, he's a yeah. Wait, is
That's where the
Doormaker a
vegetables
vegetable or is Clairvoyant a vegetable?
He is, but that's where the vegetables go.
Or I think Doormaker's a vegetable because Clairvoyant's a vegetable.
Put him
Anyone
in-
he touches also becomes a vegetable.
Put them in C. Put Doormaker in C. Like, his power's so busted.
I'm gonna put Flashbang in low C.
All right.
All right.
All right, C aisle is for vegetables.
Codex. Oh my god, man.
Codex.
I'm
I feel like I should
struggling,
know
dude.
this.
I'm really
I feel
struggling.
like I should know this one.
I like how
Uh,
like
He's a member of the Ambassadors, which is the group
Oh,
that
get him
only
outta
existed
here.
for
Get him
like
out.
a chapter.
No one remembers the ambassadors.
Clairvoyant is gonna go up there with those guys.
Oh yeah.
That's where the vegetables go.
King of Swords can go with the rest of the cards.
So the King of Swords, I do remember this guy. The reason I remember him is because he's the guy who like Scion held him down. He like held down his face into the ground until he had a trigger event. And then when he had a trigger, event, all over the landscape, these like giant shadow limbs started sprouting out, and then he died, and then they all disappeared. But he was cool for like 5 seconds.
I don't know what to make of that, dude. I feel like that's a high E then, because he did. I don't fucking know.
He's a high who.
Everyone in the surrounding area then experienced trigger visions, and the king suddenly displayed the ability to project limbs from any surface, human and non-human. And then Scion killed him anyway.
This is
Annette.
Taylor's mom.
Yes.
So
You know
what?
A tier.
A
tier for the final interlude alone.
I enjoyed the conversation with her for a few reasons, and one of them is that when Taylor is talking to this other Earth version of her mom, I think I like the consideration Wildbow took here, because this other version of Taylor's mom is not Taylor's mom.
Yeah.
To her, Taylor is a stranger, and she's like, okay, like she's kind enough to recognize and talk to Taylor, but at the same time she's like, I don't know you. You are like someone else's kid from another Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the advice she gives Taylor, because Taylor is like, look, I don't think I'm ever going to do anything a 10,000th as important as what I was doing before. And Taylor could technically be right, but Annette Herbert is like, you are 18 years old. Your life literally just started. There is so much more for you to do. And, while Taylor might not ever be saving the world again, I think if you're a teenager, like a young adult reading this book, I think that can be some great words to hear, where it's like, I don't know, you turned 18, like actually your life just started.
There's so much surreal more to do. Also seeing her, like, it's a legendary moment in this series where it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's John F. Annette Hebert, the one and only trauma queen.
I'd put her in at least D. I could pass for A, but at least B.
I'm thinking B. I will vote B too.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Bradley, your description of her, like, I liked A because I just like the impact of the final conversation, like you said, but then you described the meaning behind it. And
that
like,
did touch my heart. I'm not gonna lie. Bradley's description was kind of beautiful.
I like that chapter more than most people do.
Yeah, I don't like that chapter, for the record.
Like, you just really put that chapter into perspective. Like, no matter how successful you are as a young teenager, winning like awards and like extracurriculars and stuff, like your life has just started.
Like, you're not defined by that first maybe fifth of your life.
And while
There's
we're
so
here,
much more to do.
If there's any high schoolers listening to the Roundabout Cast tier list right now, high school is worthless. It's just a 4-year. Your life hasn't begun. Your life begins after.
Don't stress over any word.
Stress.
And you know what? Whenever people told me that when I was in high school, I thought they were full of shit. And then now I'm like, they were totally right.
So right. Oh my god.
Oh, actually, I do have one thing. If there happens to be one, if you pass all your classes really easily without trying, learn how to study.
Oh yeah.
You should get your scholastic advice from the Roundabout Cast.
Learn how to study, because that will come back to bite you in the ass.
Furthermore, enjoy the Scholastic Fair's grappy hands while you can, because you won't really find them elsewhere once you've graduated. All right.
Hell yeah, baby.
Okay, Cinder Hands.
I'm Edward Cinderhands.
He was in the birdcage, and that's all I know about him.
Whatever, man. Chuckles.
Chuckles.
I remember Chuckles.
D.
So
Chuckles was terrifying.
I think Chuckles, he had super speed on his legs and head, and super strength everywhere else on his body.
Yeah, so like he's Naruto ran everywhere.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous character. Chubster.
Dude, okay, I'm going to talk about this character who I really like, not for him, but what he is narratively. Because originally, Wildbow didn't know that he necessarily wanted to have Taylor be the main character the whole time. So, Arc 8, during the Leviathan fight, I kind of like to look at arc 1 through 8 as its own standalone deal. And I really like this. Okay, I probably should have said Chubster is the chubby guy.
Who
Taylor
she
saves
saves,
his
right?
life during
Yeah.
Leviathan.
Yeah.
Right? And I really like this because that is the first moment in the story she actually does something heroic. And, you know, at the end of arc 7, beginning of arc 8, she's finally had this moment where she's able to come face to face with the consequences of her actions. She sees she's responsible for Dinah. She admits she has been a villain. And this is the moment where she's finally able to be like, you know what? I'm not a part of a team right now. I didn't join the wards. She's like, I don't really want to be a part of the Undersiders. This is me making a call for me. And she saves someone's life. This is her first heroic moment. And for that, I like Chuckles.
So seems like a D character for his impact. Yeah.
I guess.
uh,
I actually know this guy. I actually know Chronicler.
oh,
He was
Chronicler.
in the Echidna fight. What he does is I can't remember if he carries around a little book or not, but what he does is he makes like little hologram shadows of people, and a few seconds after someone does an attack, the shade will do a duplicate attack. So like, let's say someone has to charge up a big move and they shoot out a laser beam, the shade will shoot out the same beam, the same strength a few seconds later. And like what I just told you is probably more than he's even talked about in the story. So he could go pretty low.
Time, man. Just
but I know who he is. I know who. Put him in high who.
Okay. No, he's definitively not a who. I'm gonna put him in high-ish E. Okay, Chevalier's an A tier character for me. Y'all.
I love Chevalier.
He has
He's
one
so
of the.
cool.
He has the hypest moment, maybe in Worm.
Yeah. Dude, so I've gone on record saying I can cry in books. I've cried in books before. Like everyone cried in Where the Red Friend Grows, right?
Yeah.
The only chapter I cried in Worm was in Chevalier's chapter. And surprisingly, for how much terrible shit happens in Worm, the only cry I had was a happy cry, because at the end of his chapter, Scion slays Behemoth, and Chevalier has this line where like he looks around and he sees all these heroes and villains and like saviors and serial killers hugging each other and crying and screaming, and he's like, I think Chevalier says he just knows he could hear the whole world cheering with them. And I was like,
Powerful
I'm getting
line.
goosebumps talking about it. I loved it. And he was so brave. He walks up with his giant, like 30-foot sword and cleaves Behemoth. Oh
yeah,
my god!
And he's wearing the armor, so he's like withstanding the heat and like using, like he has kind of like a gunblade kind of thing, right?
Yeah. He has a cannon blade.
Man, and he's also a great leader. Easy A tier for me, man.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, it's hard to pick between him and Cody.
Ingenue simps for him.
Yeah, she wishes.
She wishes, man.
Challenger, I remember this name, but
yeah, I feel like I should know this, but alas.
sorry, man.
Sorry, man.
Why is Dinah Alcott? The H looks like two eyes to me, so it looks like Dina the second Alcott.
Oh my god, yeah, that looks what it looks like for me too.
Tier.
No,
I think she's cool.
no.
I love Dinah because as she knows the future and has such a strong power for such a little girl, she stays indifferent the entire time. She hates Taylor. She doesn't hate Taylor, but like she is scared of Taylor because she knows what she becomes, and she's like,
She's so interesting, but she's used as like a Orihime or Rukia or
I don't know what words you're saying.
These are Bleach things. She's
Bleach
used like
is a terrible show.
Princess Peach. Gotta save her from the castle. But there's also drugs involved, and she's also my pet. But
yeah, on a reread, she has really fun lines because you know, I think between killing Coil and the Echidna fight starting, you know, Taylor's asking her all these questions, and Dinah's obviously like, Coil has asked me all these questions a million times, and so Taylor's like, okay, what can you tell me about the end of the world? And she's like, well, you're there, but you're different.
Man,
and she's like, I'm not gonna say how you're different, but you're different. And on a
if she told her, then she wouldn't have become different.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
One moment I like with Dinah. So obviously Dinah is used a bunch for Taylor's development because Taylor is Medina for
Medina.
a whole story arc. But the moment I like her the most for Taylor's development is after Taylor rescues Dinah. Immediately, Taylor starts asking her all these questions and is like, "Wow, she's really useful." And then Dinah gets so upset, and I think she realizes her chance of going home goes down. And then Taylor's like, "Oh my god,
I'm becoming
I'm
Coil.
becoming Coil."
I think Dinah is a B tier character. She's a brat once her personality comes back. And she deserves to have a personality. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be friends with her, to be honest.
If Tyler says S, Willer says B, I'll split the difference. I want to throw A in there.
All right, A it is then.
I'll allow it.
Simurg. This is interesting.
Responsible for the best arc in the story, dare I say?
Dare I say?
Dare I say?
From what I understand, pretty big deal in Ward. Maybe the biggest deal.
Yeah, we don't know shit about Ward, but I remember anytime discussion threads went up, I would see like sneaks of the Simmer, and I was like, she's still relevant?
Simmer just vibing.
She's not vibing. She's just planning.
She has one of the coolest and most. She has one of the coolest and most terrifying powers in anything for me, which. Her power could be cooler or less cool depending on how effective it actually is. Because, I think it's cool because of how effective it is, but if it's too effective, it starts becoming less cool.
Yeah, it becomes narratively annoying. I think Wabo put it maybe perfect. Unless in Ward he's like, every little thing was her plan. It's not the kind of story I like.
I think she's fucking cool. For me, she'd be A, but I know you guys might put her lower.
The thing that makes her A tier for me is the fan art where she looks super hot.
Dude, yeah, there's a fan art where she got some big old titties.
And I'm not even Bradley like that, but in this case I am.
Dude, that was a mommy Simmer.
That's a Dommy mommy if I've ever
Look,
heard one.
I want at least B on the Simmer, maybe A.
What do you think of Tyler?
At least B. Come on.
I'm gonna just say B. It's
all right.
I like the Simmer, but she's not. I don't know. I feel nothing when I think of her.
Because that's the thing. She's not a person.
I like her group as the Endbringers are maybe the most interesting thing in Warren, but they're not characters I think about.
Yeah, they're not people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't care about not people.
Yeah.
Circus is the non-gender
She's like
binary acrobat that Coil hires.
Yeah, and she's not on a team. She kind of does her own thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just
She's
remember
kinda
them
cool.
throwing knives.
Yeah, she has knives, and then she uses a sledgehammer, but she uses it pretty well where...
She has a bag of holding.
Yeah, she'll swing her hammer and then put it into her literal hammer space. And then she'll bring her arms back and then pull it back out and swing it. So, she's able to swing it twice as fast as you'd normally be able to because she doesn't have to use all that weight on the drawback.
Pretty indifferent about this character.
I think she also has pyrokinesis a little bit.
Wampo just throws minor powers into everyone.
Yeah, you know what? Put her in D somewhere.
Yeah,
I guess
mid D. She is story relevant more than Acid Bath, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Acid Bath did a little too good.
I'm not gonna lie. Nilbog.
Nilbog.
Interesting. I'm thinking a fat B for Nilbog.
I'm thinking a fat A for Nilbog. I love this.
Dude, how cool is it that we have a chapter where Taylor and Jack are having a tea party with Nilbog?
So cool.
I'm fine with B. I'm actually fine with B.
Yeah, I could do B.
All right, he's pretty cool.
He's pretty cool.
And I like the Coil and Pigot chapter with Nilbog. That's all cool.
Dude, and I think there's an interlude, or not an interlude. One of the epilogue chapters, I think it's Nilbog, Bonesaw, and Glastic Winye having a talk, and someone else looks at them and oh my god, these monsters are best friends.
Y'all, we're in danger. We just hit the chunk of characters. We're oh, these are the characters we actually know.
These are the characters you can actually talk about.
Behemoth is terrifying. I think he's overpowered. I'm gonna throw him in C.
Yeah, put him in C. He's cool. He had, you know what? So the Simmered
It's such a good
arc,
arc, though.
like the Traveler's arc was the coolest arc. Of the 3 Endbringer battles, I think Behemoth had the coolest battle because there's
Yeah.
so much going on during that battle.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one, man. I gotta agree. Alexandria is like, it's kind of stupid that she lost to Taylor. Not gonna lie, she kind of fell for that.
I'm cool with that, but I think she gets less characterization than Legend and Eidolon do.
She's my least favorite of the bunch by quite a bit.
Of the 3, she's my least favorite.
I'm thinking high C for her.
I'll put her high C. Lower than Scapegoat though. Scapegoat's a real one.
Unleash the power of the sun.
Scapegoat literally
I
has
see.
goat in the name.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Legend, high A.
I love Legend.
This guy's dope.
We talk about. I think anytime Legend comes up, the way we describe him is that he really, in a like Golden Age comic book back in the day, he might not stand out that much because in very old Golden Age comic books, a lot of the heroes are just such Boy Scouts, just such classically good people. But he stands out in Worm, and he's actually really fun in Worm because of just how Golden Age comic booky he is. He's such a Boy Scout, but such a nice dude. I love him.
I hated
Tyler.
his power.
Really?
I hated Legend's power.
It's just big beams and like
It's big
Yeah.
beams.
He just shoot lasers.
It's big beams.
He go pew 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 pew.
I think
pew.
70% of Worm powers are just like random shit bag of powers that makes like a power
I wouldn't put Legend above Dinah. I don't think he's as plot. important.
I like him more, but I
Okay.
will let you have that.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Big man himself. I think Scion's got to go an A, y'all.
I was gonna even put him in S even.
Maybe he's so
Oh.
interesting narratively.
His interlude is just one of the craziest chapters of any book I've ever read.
26.
Like honestly, the only chapter of a book I might like more is the first interlude of Pale.
Woo!
But
Shout out
like-
to my boy Gabe.
holy shit, that interlude is so cool because he really is so interesting. Where first of all, I kind of like the origin of his species and how he came to Earth, but because he has to simulate a human mind to feel these emotions, and he's feeling these emotions for the first time, and he doesn't know what to do, and he's so lost. So, he gets convinced to help people for like 30 years, and it's all right, but then he's not feeling it, and then he gets convinced to hurt people by Jack. And, okay, we talked all about this motherfucker on the podcast, but I think what really sold him to me, and a lot of the story in general, was the chapter where he's actually defeated, because it's made very apparent in his interlude that he is a creature that has human emotion, but he lacks imagination. And that's what the entities are out doing, is they don't have the imagination to use these shards, so they borrow from the imagination of other species. And
I've turned
that's
around. It's
kind
gotta
of
be S.
we want to take away a moral from Worm, right?
Yeah.
You kind of want to take away a moral from a story. And so these entities go around to species to find something that species has that they don't. And to me, what humans have that the entities don't is this ability to persevere through this pain and hardship, because it's made clear Scion has Contessa's power, and it's like, how the fuck do you beat him if he has Contessa's power? And you know what? Whenever Taylor's harassing him, he just curls up in a ball, and what I believe to be true is he queried Contessa's power, how do I make the pain stop? And the answer to that question is stop moving. And you know what? It's because he couldn't fucking take it.
You can't
He
hang.
couldn't take the bullying that Taylor was able to take.
All you really needed to say is that the story is about trauma, and he inflicts trauma on everyone. He engineers and perseveres on putting these trauma in people, and then he's defeated by it. That's all you gotta say. S tier, man.
He dishes it out, but he can't take it,
The
and
story
I fucking love it.
is the story of Taylor and Scion. That is the heart of
Man.
Worm.
I
Scion
bully
is a-
people.
Scion's a bitch. I have him in S. but you got the mouse. You put him where you want.
I also vote S. Tyler.
This guy is an S.
He's S. Come on.
He's good. He's a bully. Honestly, I wasn't expecting Golden Morning.
On the real.
On the real.
I wasn't expecting it when I read it.
I
wasn't expecting it even after he blew up Europe. I was like, wait. I was like, wait.
I'm not even gonna say. I'm not gonna say like. I'm not gonna say it's hard to expect it because honestly, I think the vibe I've gotten from reading online is more people actually expect it than people who don't expect it.
Yeah. I think
but
what people don't expect is the sheer horror that it actually turns out into.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's gonna Dr. Manhattan everyone. I didn't think he was gonna blow up Britain with one attack.
Yeah, he just shoots across the ocean and blows up a continent, man.
Leviathan gets to be like tied with Behemoth, you know?
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah. He's sitting there. Mecha Leviathan though. Khonsu gets to be below them, but not by much, I think. Yeah. Khonsu's horrifying. It was such a blow in the story because I talked about how much Behemoth's defeat affected me. Like it was such a happy moment for me. And obviously for the people in the story too. And then Khonsu happens. And not only is Khonsu destroying them for an entire chapter, the starting line of the next chapter is Taylor going, "It's been 3 days."
Yeah, that was.
And he's been teleporting around the world.
That was a kick in my dick, dude.
Oh yeah. He's good. He good.
Eden, I don't feel super hot about Eden.
Not as cool as Scion.
She's just Scion's motivation. I think Eden's a D tier, like in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
High D though. Like
high D.
She's like tied to Mr. Gladly.
Mr. Gladly versus Eden. Who would win?
Okay, I love Eidolon.
Yes, dude.
Eidolon's fucking sick, yo. I think he's such a good, genuine.
Eidolon gets bitch made.
Yeah, but I love that about him.
He's this guy who he had like nothing going for him because I think every character who sees him in person describes him as unattractive. And I can't remember if he was like sick before he got his powers, but he always talks about, I think, how he gave everything up. He has to deal with being the strongest guy. He's dedicated his life to being a hero. And he makes it sound like a sacrifice, but it's like, dude, were you really sacrificing that much? I think you did this to yourself.
Yeah.
I like Eidolon because it's revealed he just wants to live in an isekai and live out this grand fantasy that he never can, which is why he keeps begging for more and more power to fight Scion or whatever, and these beings that he seemingly created.
Yeah, that's the one thing I really dislike about like the grand story of Worm is that you don't really get a very good explanation on how this shard just created them. But Eidolon as a character I love.
I think like the 95% sure theory is that Eidolon created the Endbringers, but I don't know if Wildbow's ever came out and said that's true.
Well, again, we haven't read Worm, or Ward.
Or we haven't read. I'm sure in Ward they talk all about it.
With all these who's, you guys might be thinking we also haven't read Worm, but I assure you we have.
I'm sure some motherfuckers like, oh my god, Spruce is like the best character in Ward.
Sorry, Eidolon gets an S tier vote for me. He's actually like among my top he's like top 6 or 7 at least.
I would have put him in A, but I'll let you use points if you want to put him in S.
Let's see what Tyler says.
What do you think?
I think he's right there with Chevalier, to be honest.
Okay.
I will settle for... I like him more than Legend and Dinah.
Yeah. He's better than Legend
Chevalier?
I would be cool with him on either side of Chevalier.
Who is Perdition again?
Cody.
Okay.
They should have just put Cody, because...
Yeah. Oh, speaking of S tiers, can we talk about my girl Dragon?
Y'all.
Tyler seems unpleased.
I love Dragon. Man.
Dragon.
Rocks.
Dude, there's so many layers to why I like Dragon. Like, number one, I think it is so sad when Taylor finds out Dragon is an AI, because I think Taylor has gone on record saying that Dragon is like maybe the one hero who has seemed to always understand her that Taylor can identify with, who's given her the benefit of the doubt. And then she finds out this one hero she was able to connect with is a fucking robot. And then I really like
Makes you
Dragon's
think.
Interlude, which I should read Dragon's Interlude more, but she's always struggled between two things she really wants. Where one, especially since the first time we meet Dragon, she's always talked about how resentful she is that she has all these restrictions put on by her creator. She just wants to be free, but also she kind of wants the experience of being human, wanting that romance, you know, having someone, which she kind of gets with Colin Defiant a little bit. And in her epilogue interlude, we have two dragons. One of them is the modern day dragon that now has all these new restrictions put on by teacher, and they boot up like an old save of dragon from a long time ago. And the modern day dragon is like insisting that the one thing they want more than anything in the world is to be free of these restrictions. But the one that's booted up from the old save is like, no, what are you talking? You have everything I want. She looks at Defiant. She's like, you have someone you love who loves you. You have everything we want.
Man,
And I think that's such a cool dichotomy to her.
I can't believe my wife's sister is a save state coming next
Yeah.
fall. Yeah, I love Dragon. She's S tier for me. I love her development throughout the story. I love how I didn't trust her early on, and she really had to earn my trust throughout the series because she seemed like such a smoking bomb. But Wildbow took it in such a different direction with Dragon, I thought.
Yeah. The fact that you can love her so much and still wonder if Saint maybe did the right thing is such a cool concept to me.
Tyler, where would you put her?
Where would you put Dragon?
I love her interlude, like Bradley says. She just wants the love.
And I like her epilogue too. With,
Man,
let us have this one. This one's for the boys.
This is an ass.
boys.
Dragon's an ass.
Let's go.
Dynamic character.
He was. I don't know what convinced you, but it did. Kaiser's an F. Fuck this guy. You know what? Don't fuck this guy because I like how he's important to show that this scumbag is going all out against
Kaiser goes
Leviathan.
right there with Heartbreaker.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the reason I think the thing, I would have put Kaiser in F. The reason I don't is because of how he died, where, like, wasn't he in a building with Leviathan and he's like, yes, like, drop the building down on both of us? Because even someone as terrible as him is able to recognize Leviathan is fucked up.
Yeah.
And, like, he needs to go down.
I think D's fair for him.
Yeah.
Oh man, Mordnag is.
She cool.
Oh no, this is the one with the pet like shadow like.
Yeah, she had like the shadow
that's
with the skull.
Mordnag is the Silver Surfer.
And I think she showed up at the first Cauldron meeting, and Taylor was so angry at everyone because Mordnag's like, I want 100,000 bodies, and I hope you fight. And Taylor's like, no, we're not doing that. And Cauldron's like, we could probably work up 100,000 bodies.
Yeah,
And
it's no big deal.
I was like, oh shit.
Seems like a C or D to me, y'all.
I could put her like high D, above Fault Line. You know what? She's cooler than Fault Line.
Things.
She's cooler than Fault Line.
Fault Line's fucking lame, y'all. I think we're being nice. I think
Mr. Gladly's better than Fault Line.
easily.
Yeah,
Grace
yeah,
is cooler than Fault Line.
yeah.
Ash
Yeah, that's
Beast,
a
big stopping point. Narwhal's like whatever.
So yeah, Narwhal is part of the guild, which is like the Canadian Protectorate. It's like I think it's like Canada's Guild of Heroes. It's called the Guild, but I think Narwhal is the first mention of the Manton effect, where some powers can't just like insta-give people, because she can open force fields inside people.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I think the most screen time she gets is actually in 30.7. She shows up in 30.7. I think Taylor takes control of her.
She's the one who's there when Dragon's stuff is revealed. I was getting her confused.
Yeah,
with
I
others.
thought Narwhal was with Saint, and
Yeah, she was there
right
too.
at the end.
She was there during that also.
Whatever, man. That's a D character. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
she's a D. She's a D. Whatever.
Oni Lee's brought up a lot, but I never got a sense for his character.
Like he had a pretty cool fight in the chapter before they fought Long the second time, but You know, if you know what Jack had him pegged. Jack is like he doesn't have a personality. He's a blank slate. That's all he is.
I think he's the highest E. That is
He's the highest E.
Coil.
Who's this? Coil. So
Interesting
Coil
guy.
A tier.
one thing, like I always thought Coil was. I think Coil has a cool power, and I already thought he was cool. And what elevated it even more for me is I can't remember where I heard this. It could have been on the Doof Media podcast, and they actually have 2 podcasts on Worm now.
What?
So there was We've Got Worm, and they also have a series called Decomposing Worm, which is like people who are actually very experienced in literary analysis are going through the story to talk about it. So I can't remember which of those 2 podcasts it was, but the thing they point out is around arc 7 or 8, where Coil becomes Taylor's nemesis. Whenever Taylor finds out about Dinah, that is the first time she has come face to face with the consequences of her actions. Because up to this point, she's always justified what she's done. That's the first time where she can admit, okay, something I did was overall made society worse. And at the time she becomes Coil's rival, or at the time she realizes her actions have consequences, her rival becomes someone whose power is to remove consequences from his actions, which is kind of cool.
It's neat. I'll give it a fat neat. My problem with Coil is when he starts flaunting his Thomas Calvert personality, and he's like, I just don't like his stories where it's like I had this super secret personality and now it doesn't matter anymore because the heroes found out and I'm just gonna be myself now. It's like, especially in Worm.
Like, weirdly, he could have had more screen time for how long he was the villain. Because he was the villain for a long ass time.
I think he's high B. He's higher than Simurgh for me.
I could put him in B, yeah.
I want him in A.
Ooh.
But I'm fine with B for the fact that as someone who can remove his consequences, like he really sucks at killing Taylor.
Or maybe
really
she's
does.
just a fucking beast.
I don't know, man. He has one of the best fights, which he's not. I mean, it's his goons, where they're like trying to assassinate Taylor in that for a burning building. That shit's rad.
Oh, that's a good one.
His death is one of my favorite moments in Worm. Well, this is why I like Trickster so much. Trickster waking up to Coils being pecked at by seagulls, because it's just like those little remains that the dogs didn't eat that are left behind, is the biggest tonal, like, it's like Trickster's so at the end of, like, before we jump back to present time, Trickster and Noelle finally have a hope. That hope is Coil. We wake up, Genesis and Ballistic are just looking at Coil get eaten, and Trickster's like, oh shit. I think that's an understated moment as far as like people's favorite moments, but I think it's my number one.
Yeah, like that moment, not only is it just like the biggest drop in your stomach hope, because like he was their hope. They're like, yeah, this guy, he can solve our problems. It immediately cuts to his corpse being eaten by seagulls. And not only is it such a drop in hope, it's such a good punctuation to the arc that has the Simurgh, because like I just think the birds and their like white feathers.
That's right. That's like a symbolism for the Simurgh.
It feels like the Simurgh just rubbing it in, man.
Oh, that's fucking fire. That Bakuda is entertaining as shit.
That's the thing. Like in the grand scheme of things, she's not that important, but her fight was probably the most entertaining for me in the first like section of the story.
Yeah, I would throw Bakuda in B for how crazy fun she is, how much she stood out among all the other characters when she was much needed in getting me to keep reading Worm. I will say.
Bakuda showed an extremity of what people's powers could be, which I really liked.
Yeah, she was using her bombs for like the craziest shit.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, like before Bakuda, you have the bank fight, and you know, people aren't really going all out. Nobody dies during that fight. It's like really classic superhero shit. And I think a lot of people would describe Bakuda as a tonal shift where she actually totally kills a bunch of people.
I think the thing I want to really see out of the first season of my Worm TV show is Bakuda on that car with a grenade launcher, laughing maniacally and shooting time explosions as
Boy.
the Undersiders are driving and trying to dodge these explosions.
Let's go. Tyler, do you have something to say?
No, I got no
Y'all
more
alright
about
with B?
Bakuda. I'm all right with B. I like
prefer
this
B.
character a lot. She showed like a lot of people hold back in this show with what they're capable of doing with their powers, and she's revealed early on when she isn't.
Yeah, she didn't give a fuck.
Let's not spend too much time on Trainwreck. The only thing about him is that he's like a double agent, but that's not even like
Yeah,
used or interesting.
he was the same kind of thing as Circus, where he's like I think like a mercenary.
Yeah.
He showed up twice, I think. He showed up after they raided like the gala on the rooftop or whatever. Like after they met up with Coil and he was there with Circus, and then
Am I thinking of Chariot or are they both double agents?
They're both double agents.
Yeah.
Chariot was also a double agent. Trainwreck also showed up, I think, in the merchant raid near the end. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, Trainwreck's weird.
Not gonna lie, I don't give a fuck about Trainwreck.
Simmerg again. Cool.
What?
Sleeper.
Okay.
Yeah, Sleeper's also here twice. That's
Oh,
that's
shit.
good. Skid Mark's like a high D, maybe low C.
He had a very entertaining death. He is such a fucking scumbag.
I think C. He's really memorable, right?
Yeah, no, he's really
Yeah.
memorable, and I love him, but he's such a terrible person because,
Yeah.
like, he and Jack Slash are both people where there is no depth they won't sink to. Like, there's nothing that's too immoral for them, but the difference is Skidmark is most interested in self-pleasure, like drugs, sex, whatever. Jack Slash is most interested in corrupting other people, and that makes him more interesting.
Skidmark, I feel like smells. Well, Jack Slash probably like smells really good. He probably like.
Yeah. Jack Slash wears cologne for sure. He
All right,
stole it. But he
Bohu,
wears
we're
cologne.
gonna do Bohu and Tohu together. They go below all the other Endbringers. I think.
Yeah, they're the no one like they're inbringers, but no one really cares
like
about
a
them.
D.
I'm sure they're really cool in Ward. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they survived the story, didn't they? My
I
boy
think-
Leviathan got cucked, man.
He did get cooked, dude.
You hate to see it. Squealer, we already did. I thought, right?
Did I get Squealer and Chariot mixed up? I don't know.
No, we haven't done Chariot. Adamant. I remember this
Dude.
guy.
That sounds like a familiar name. Okay, he's worth a search.
Yeah, you're gonna be
I
like,
feel
oh,
like
this
I-
guy.
I feel like I should know that name. He's a member of the New York Protectorate, so he would have showed up in the chapter where they fought the wizard dudes, like Felix or whatever. It
It's
looks
not
like
looking
he.
good, man.
I don't. He controls metal. He controls metal.
He
Whatever.
feels like a D. I feel like he was nice
Yeah.
to Taylor.
Yeah, whatever.
Uber and Leet are not
They're
bad.
fun. They're kind of fun.
They're kinda
They-
fun.
I like that they live stream their crimes, but with like a delay.
They're kind of cringy. I'm
They
thinking
kind of quirky though.
low C, low C, high D.
Here's
Yeah,
what-
yeah, they're
I
fun.
remember Uber and Leet at the end of Worm without having to look them up.
Yeah, that's
They're fun.
telling. I'm gonna put him in low
Yeah,
C.
yeah, we'll put them in C.
Cool powers too. Mush on the other
Yeah.
hand goes straight into Who.
Mush.
Seer goes into Who.
Oh no, dude. Okay, I remember Seer.
No, come on, man.
He dehydrates stuff. He was in the chapter where Taylor gets outed at her high school, and the funny thing was, so she was in the cafeteria talking to Dragon and Defiant and kicking his ass outside at the same time. And I think she tied him up, and she's like, while during the conversation, she's like, "By the way, you guys should have someone go check on that guy outside." And they're like, "Fuck."
Okay, we got to. Okay, come on.
Oh, dude.
Come on. Come
Oh my
on.
god. Arms Master has to be S.
Come on, Tyler. You and I,
Master, low key best character.
low
He's
key
fucking
top of S right now.
Y'all,
My boy
like-
Colin, Defiant Arm Master.
something I don't think I had, like, because at the time Willer and I did our talks about Worm, I think I already read this story at least twice and also listened to a bunch of chapters a ton through the audiobook. And I think something that I hadn't realized until we were actually talking about it is this thing that happens with this character. And I don't even know if I'd call it subtle, but I just hadn't noticed it the first time I read, where, you know, Arms Master is approached by Mannequin. In Mannequin's test for the Slaughterhouse 9 is always, you have to irreversibly change your body in some way. And Arms Master, you know, whenever he gets nominated by Mannequin, he's like, fuck you. I would never join you. You're a loser tinker who went crazy because your family died. And he's like, I've dedicated my life to, you know, the heroics and shit. So he denies a Mannequin's nomination, which, you know, should make him have to dodge Mannequin's challenge. However, after the Slaughterhouse 9 arc, what does Arms Master do? He lets Dragon change his body. He becomes a cyborg. He like gives himself like electric lungs, cyborg arms. He irreparably changes his body so he can hunt the Slaughterhouse 9. Mannequin did it.
Yeah,
I
but
love
not the
that.
way he wanted, because my boy Defiant becomes the best boy.
And Defiant's so cool. And like the way he, by the end of the story, Defiant and Dragon are like these,
the best
not
romance.
parents, but like they're like mentors for Taylor. They'll like shuttle her around, and they're like, "Don't get into trouble."
The mentorship. Just think of the way that Taylor's relationship evolved since arc 1 and then the 30th arc. The thing about Defiant is he's the only person who Kepri's name can remember. That shit like is so significant to me.
That is fucking crazy. She doesn't even remember the Undersiders' names.
Yeah.
She remembers Defiant. That is so cool.
Because she knows he's best boy. And I think I really liked about Arm Master when he was still an asshole. I think Wildbow was still finding his writing style, where a lot of characters spoke the same, and it really annoyed me in early Worm. Like, people's voices weren't coming out. I could get Arms Master's voice as this pompous, like, chest puffed out, I'm a superhero kind of guy, and like it just stuck out to me. And from that moment on, he just became better and better.
And one of my favorite interactions between Taylor and Arms Master, it was in the arc where Taylor initially turns herself in to the like PRT or whatever, and she gets put in a cell, and she actually does try to escape the building, and Arms Master and Dragon take her. And throughout that whole chapter, she tries like 4 different ways to escape, where she tries to like activate like a containment foam sprayer. She tries to like activate one of Arms Master's EMPs. And I think at one point he just pushes her down on the ground and he's like, "Stop trying things."
Tyler, you're mandated to say something nice too. I want to hear it.
What do you got?
Fanboy with me.
Oh shit, y'all! I'm just blanking.
Do y'all remember when
what
this
can you really
motherfucker
say?
stabbed through Bonesaw with his giant spear and then cleaved that bitch in half or
He
something?
cleaved Bonesaw in half, and he 1v1'd Leviathan, which he was kind of an asshole because he kind of sabotaged the whole operation.
Legendary moment, though.
He was 1v1'ing Leviathan, and Leviathan tried to run away from him.
Can we talk about how cute his relationship with Dragon is as the best romance in this story between two
Yeah,
robot
like-
people?
A cyborg and an AI have the best romance of the story.
Oh, man. And like,
I do. I think I just kind of like how Defiant. And y'all may have mentioned this, but I was kind of I'm losing focus a little bit. My meds are hitting me hard today.
I smell it.
How he kind of takes Skitter in as a protege.
yeah.
And I really like that because like it was at the very beginning he offered her guidance as a hero, and that's not what she needed. And she needed guidance as like a vigilante of her own deformed justice, which they both have their own weird warped sense of justice.
Isn't it cool how they both weren't ready for the relationship that they would have? Like, Arms Master wasn't ready to be a real hero, and Taylor was not aware that she wanted to be a villain yet, and they both had to go through these character journeys before they get into the relationship that we know at the end.
This relationship just isn't working out right now. I think we're at different times in our life.
Exactly. I'm gonna say it. Danny might be Taylor's mom, but Arms Master is Skitter and Weaver's dad.
It's her daddy. Y'all, Arms Master got me so excited that I really need to go take a piss.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Battery. Whatever.
Battery. Dude, Battery's not who, but
D.
Battery's just there to have her interlude where she falls in love with Assault. I'm sorry.
And to die.
And to die.
Dauntless. Is pretty interesting.
Dauntless would
Only Dauntless.
Yes. Yeah, so I think Dauntless is a character that has some shit going on in Ward, but I don't know. In this story, he was set up to one day potentially be the strongest hero in the world because he gets a little bit stronger every day, but he got stuck in a time bubble, and that's the last we saw him. So whatever.
But maybe the time bubble deteriorates.
Some shit.
Anything that's kind of important and characters survive and Ward kind of retcons.
Does it retcon it?
Retcons it.
I don't want to say it seems unlike Wild Bow to straight up retcon stuff.
I feel like you're using the wrong word, and you should be careful because Ward fans will actually be like, Tyler doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
They're gonna hurt us.
They will. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm used to anime fans, not literature fans.
Exactly. These guys actually read and shit. They're scary, dude.
They're gonna they'll crucify me.
Vista had a cool chapter. She was like the youngest member of the wards, and she didn't want to be seen like a baby.
I like her interview a little bit. Like I'm thinking high D. I don't really like her that much.
She gets something cool in Gold Morning where
Vista, one who works Sundance Sun.
So she's actually like a Shaker 12, and the thing is, there's really no limit to how much she can warp space. Like the only thing that dampens it is if there's people in the way. And during Gold Morning, whenever there's like nobody left on Earth, she's actually able to I think put continents together.
Dude, put Vista up in C or low B. She goes through some trauma. She's like 12 or 13.
Poor girl.
When Leviathan attacks.
Suck it up. All right.
Child soldier.
This guy dies really early. He dies in.
Yeah. Velocity was at the gala, and Taylor fought him, and that's it. That's all that happens.
Kills him, doesn't he?
I almost spit up my beer. Jesus Christ, that's it.
That's all that happens.
Kid, fucking win. Let's go.
This guy grows on you, man.
This guy's a grower.
Because, whenever you first see him in the story, he's such a fucking loser. He gets his ass kicked at the bank, but he just kind of becomes endearing, you know?
Does he die? I don't remember him.
I don't think he died. Skip. You know what's fucking cool? After the time skip, he's wearing a suit that has 100 guns on the back. I think Taylor said he was like a porcupine, but with guns instead of quills.
Damn.
Also, Simmerg uses Kid Win's power.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah,
okay.
She starts because she's like a tinkerer who uses.
Oh yeah, she makes guns and shit, right?
Yeah, and so she uses his tinker ability and she's making guns or something, and this gun seems familiar. That's my
Let's go.
Two things I really like about Kid Win. His one chapter in Arc 10 made me like him a lot more. He came off really endearing. His exchange with Legend, where he helps Legend build that software they uses to spy on the Triumvirate, very wholesome. I'm thinking C tier. High C.
Yeah, put him up there.
Yeah, I'd slap him in B. I like him more than Bakuda and Nilbog and Cuff. He's up there, man. Kid Win.
I can see him up there with some of those.
I can't say I disagree.
Yeah, he's up there.
Plus, he survives. You know.
The legend herself, Emma Barnes.
What a bitch.
Shit happens, bitch. Didn't she commit suicide? Oh no.
Yeah, it's implied, I think.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Big implied.
I really like her because I think after Coil is already over, she basically, and the city's all destroyed because of Leviathan, but people have been rebuilding, and she comes back to see Taylor. It's Emma's interlude, right? Because she talks about how she grew away from Taylor. She saw Taylor as kind of still a kid, still weak. And whenever Sophia would pick on Taylor, she saw how Taylor would respond, and she's just Taylor's a kind of a loser. But the thing is, whenever she finally moved back to Brockton Bay after all the Leviathan fallout, she drove by Taylor's house and she saw Taylor. She's like, Taylor and her dad are working in the yard. She's like, Taylor's tan. She has muscles she didn't before. Yeah, she has her head held up high, and she kind of realizes Taylor was the strong one. She was the survivor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That was cool.
B-tier.
Yeah, somewhere up there.
Apparently, Emma dies during Gold Morning when she doesn't leave her room because remember she locks herself.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was. Yeah, it was one way or the other. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Flashbang, we did.
Yeah, I think there's a few repeats on here.
Brandish, we have not.
Brandish is either Victoria's cousin or sister or brother or some shit.
It's
I think he died in Leviathan.
Carol Dallin is the wife of Mark Dallin, Brandish.
Oh, that's Carol.
Yeah.
Carol Danvers.
Yeah, she did.
No,
Brandish
she's not
is
dead.
Carol Danvers?
No, she's not dead. She goes to visit Victoria in the asylum,
Yeah.
I think.
I like her interlude where she's in the dark.
My bad.
Yeah.
This is a Worm Wiki exclusive experience.
Shit.
Sorry, spoilers to anyone. Don't check the wiki ever.
I guess so.
Did we just get okay? So Brandish is Gloria's mom.
Yeah.
Victoria's mom. Who's
Yeah.
who? I like the interlude where she's in the dark and then she makes a light bat to beat the shit out of a dude, and then she's like and then she has to take that dude's daughter who she hates.
Yeah.
She's got character. C tier.
Oh, the Flesh Swan.
What do you mean the flesh swan?
Victoria. Glory girl. Okay.
Glory
So,
hole.
here's the thing. This is the worm only tier list, right? So I did read like 6 arcs of Ward. I will say Glory Girl used to be a character I didn't like that much. 6 arcs of Ward made me people crucify me if you want. I wasn't a giant fan of Ward and how I felt like the story was structured, where it was going. However, the story made me really like Victoria, and she probably has my favorite trigger event in the entire series.
That's too bad, Bradley, because
That being
she's
said,
gonna be D-tier.
worm tier list, I'd put her like maybe C.
Yeah,
I'm
she
voting
turns
C.
into a Flesh Swan. No, the Flesh
fine.
Swan
For the
goes in
memes.
C.
For the
That's for the
memes.
vegetables.
Yeah, like
C does have all the vegetables currently.
just by the end of Worm, I was like, I mean, whatever.
Oh, I hate this
So,
bitch.
I like this. I like
S.
this character more than you guys. I think I like. Oh wait, no, Tyler likes
Tyler
this
just
character.
said
Really
S.
likes-
love
Um,
Panacea.
I'm fighting a losing battle here. She's a C tier character for me, so we're gonna put her in A. 2 S's though. That's pretty convincing.
I think she has. Well, she's actually a character I think I might use to pitch Worm to someone because of the dilemma of her power, where she can cure anybody, anything that ails, like anything. And so she feels compelled. I talked really weird right there. She
Compelled.
feels compelled.
No, this is conwormed.
Yo. She feels compelled to always be in the hospital saving lives, because if she takes even a second to herself, that's another life she could have saved. And she feels horrible for it. And so she's even thought about like quote unquote accidentally messing up and killing someone so people will ask her to not do it anymore. So I love the dilemma of her power.
Here's my
lot.
thing about Panacea. She's just a walking conundrum to make you think. Her
Make you think.
personality is
I don't
trash.
like to think.
I hate her dialogue is not interesting. She does horrible things. She's just there to make you feel emotions and feel conflicted. I would put her low B. Can I interest you all in a high A?
I don't know if I'd put her above Cody. I think Cody is so fucking cool. I love Cody.
We're gonna put
Well,
her.
I think he's a shithead bag, but
Can I
I love
interest
him.
you all behind Chevalier?
Yeah,
I
I
think
can
that's
do
fair.
that. What do you think,
that's,
Tyler?
that's really fair.
What do you think, Tyler? Tyler might want her
Yeah,
higher.
no,
even.
no, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Dr. Mother, interesting. Another
Right.
walking dilemma, but I do like her nonsense attitude and when she's kind of fun when she's driven to a corner near the end of the story.
Yeah,
I'm thinking C or B.
she,
I like
she,
Dr. Mother's goal in the story.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
she,
closing your heart to save the world is always a cool story to me.
Yeah, she's cool. I think that's a good spot for her.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, above him. I don't want to.
All right, well,
Bro.
relax.
Bro, number
Man, though.
Look,
Dude,
nobody has ever disliked Number Man ever. It's
Ever.
not. It's never happened. Everybody loves him.
He's the Zorro of the series.
He's so cool. Like
A tier.
Okay, yeah, fuck it. He's so cool.
You know what one of the coolest fucking lines was in his interlude, someone tries to escape and he fights them and beats them really easily. And he puts the guy back in his cell and the guy's like crying and he's like, is there ever, like, could I have won? And the guy's like, well, yeah, there's a chance, blind luck, maybe if the wind was a little bit different in here, whatever. And the guy's like, is there ever a chance I could have escaped? And he's like, no. There was a 0% chance you would have ever escaped. And I was like, God damn, you cold motherfucker.
Number Man in the audiobook has the high-pissed moment in the audiobook because it's the only time they do it. When Number Man is in the end of his interlude and he's talking about Jack.
Yeah.
And it's like he's talking about how powerful Jack is for no reason. And he's like, is there a link, like a closer link to Jack and these entities than we know of? And if that's the case, what does that say about their true intentions? But as he's saying that, they drop like the Worm theme song that they play in the start of all the audiobook chapters. That shit got me hype.
Yeah. Like, it's good that they use that sparingly, because whenever they do use it there, you're like, oh my god, they're on some real fucking shit.
That's such a memorable line.
He's such a good fighter, and you know what? He used to be best friends with Jack, who's the actual best character, so...
I like how Number Man and Contessa have the same power.
Like, they're both really good at fighting.
I like Number Man's way to do it better. Like, they're essentially doing the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, like, using mathematics for battle. Lady Photon's, isn't she, did we do her?
She's the white supremacist. No.
No. She's in Victoria's family, I think. I think she's like an aunt, maybe?
No. Lady Photon's the white supremacist.
No, you're thinking of Purity.
Yes.
Oh, I am thinking of Purity. Who's the fuck?
She's like Victoria's aunt or some shit.
Oh, or Photon Mom is the leader of New Wave.
She goes in D tier where all the other characters who are plot relevant, like they show up multiple times but have no personality. Laser Dream's a neat name.
Laser Dream is Victoria's cousin, and this is another case where I think she's cool because of Ward, but this is a Worm tier list, and if I had only read Worm, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, D.
Butcher 14 gets into D or C.
Butcher's so fucking cool.
Butcher 14 goes to B.
Okay,
Butcher is like
that.
Butcher has such a cool fucking power.
This is the Avatar.
Like, I think like Taylor described Butcher as like like they have like a samurai helmet, and they have like in one hand a Gatling gun, and in the other hand like a giant war bow, and they can teleport around and make explosions and cause pain at a distance and all this other shit. I'm like, oh my god.
Yo, cool fan art.
They are very scary.
Hatchet Face, whatever.
Yeah, Cherish killed him.
One of the Butchers had the ability to see hearts even through walls.
That's fucking sick. That is like, okay, seeing people through walls, pretty neat. Seeing specifically hearts through walls, that's metal.
Yeah, that's fucking metal.
Hearts, veins, and arteries. So
I think,
you just see walking, like, circulatory systems.
I think by the time it gets to Butcher 14, I think they have like 6 different super strength powers layered on top of each other.
Yep.
Director Tag. I am the #1 tag defender on the planet, as we all know.
Yeah, because like
I think people are too hard on this guy.
A lot of people see him as a fucking asshole, but that's because the story is from the perspective of Taylor.
Taylor's the ultimate asshole, and Tag was just playing tough. I think he's B.
Yeah, he's a tough dude, but he was doing it like he is the we will not negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah,
you know. And if you're a terrorist, that makes you sound like if you're a terrorist, he sounds like an asshole for saying we won't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and he was right. She fucking killed Alexandria. Are y'all cool with B?
Mm-hmm.
I can do that.
S tier, S tier, S tier, S. Oh, but do I put him above Arms Master? I'll let Tyler decide that one.
So,
nah.
Theo's interlude where he meets Jack Slash is probably the chapter I've reread the most times, and it's the one I would actually most like to see adapted to TV.
Same. It's the #1 I'd like make a short film or something. Like that'd be so
this
cool.
Is I think the best Wildbow has ever been at setting tone for a chapter, even today, because it opens with Theo staring at the TV.
Reflection.
And Yeah, it talks about how he's never been more intimately familiar with an object. Like, he's like, if I closed my eyes, I'd be able to tell you exactly what the brand logo on the TV looks like and how wide it is. Like, because he doesn't want to look away because he's scared even the smallest movement will make Jack kill him or something.
It's
Ugh.
fire. Jack is the fucking Doflamingo of Worm. He is so entertaining. He's so interesting. He's kind of bullshit, which is all Doflamingo. So
Like, I was so glad whenever you said you liked Jack Slash because I'm like, he's kind of the closest thing to a main villain besides obviously Scion.
yeah, I'd say he is the main villain, right?
Yeah, I fucking love Jack. He is so cool.
I think to keep it short, my favorite aspect of Jack is how he can manipulate the Nine, but he's not perfect. He does slip up here and there. He does get too ahead of himself sometimes, but overall, he's really efficient at what he does.
God, and I like his motivation for he just wants things to be interesting because like even then, whenever he's arguing with Panacea near the end of the like first Slaughterhouse 9 arc, he's like, you know what? He's like just break your rules. Like use your power on your sister, or just you know what? You don't even have to do it now. Just promise me you'll go crazy with your powers. You won't have rules for yourself in the future, and I'll leave the city. And you know what? He does it. Like he has. Oh, he's like the most evil person in the setting, but he has this weird showmanship and honor to him where like he leaves the city and he left a note. He's like, yeah, as per my deal with Miss Amy Dallin, I'm leaving the city. And I'm like, what a good guy.
Jack's such a good guy. His chemistry with Theo is great, and him fighting shirtless with Hulk Wolf, and him using Hulk Wolf as a conduit for his power, and he's shirtless. For some reason, I just picture that so cool in my head. He's got a giant sword.
I have a whole TED talk I could do on Jack Slash, which I won't do now.
Yeah, same.
But I love the final confrontation between Theo and Jack, where we have, up to this point in the story, we had never seen Jack break composure. He's always like either like just like very calm or vibing or just even laughing, even if like there's death all around him. And Theo's like, "Shut up, Jack. You think you have everything under control. You think you're this grand manipulator, but he's like, you're just some killer with delusions of grandeur." And that's the first time in the story Jack doesn't have a smile. Theo's like, Jack looks pissed, and then he starts fighting.
Yeah, we already know, dog. Damsel of Distress, I know, is a really big Ward character. She doesn't really.
But as far as Worm goes, yeah.
Shatterbird, I feel like she got a little shafted at the like all things considered.
Yeah, like the most interesting thing to her was in the Jack interlude where he's talking about how he manipulates her, right?
Yeah, she just wants to be like, she wants attention.
Yeah, he says like she needs to feel like she's part of the group or that she is like valuable to the group. And he doesn't actually really think that, but he's like, whenever we enter a new city, I let her do her big scream and shatter everything. So usually that carries her over till we go to the next city.
She just makes Jack more S tier. That's why I think she's D.
I know.
She's not really. I'm not feeling her. Gregor the Snail's pretty cool, dog. I think he's a B tier.
Yeah, dude, I like this interlude because he has to like pay someone to go get groceries for him, and I just liked it as like a day in the life of a Case 53.
Yeah. Doesn't he date someone too? Like the luck girl?
Sure.
I hate Glastig Ulenwe. She's exposition robot.
So
I fucking can't stand this character.
It's less that I like her as a person. I do like what she does for Taylor. There's a moment where Taylor's talking to her, and Taylor's fuck, dude. I've already drank like 4 of these things. So Taylor's talking to Glastic, and she sees like her shades, her shadows that she summons around her. And she sees this guy who I think Glastic is like, he used to be a fire-themed cape, and he kind of looks like a ghost that's like half a normal person, but he has hints of his old costume, like his head is fire, and he has like a fire symbol on his chest or whatever. And this kind of gives Taylor an identity crisis because she's like, if I died and she claimed me, what would I look like?
Yeah, would I look like
because
Weaver
she's
or
like,
Skitter?
like, first of all, she's uncomfortable with the fact that she wouldn't just look like Taylor because she's like, I mean, I'm me. Like the costume's just a costume, but she's like, even if it did take the costume, would it look more like Weaver or would it look more like Skitter? And like she's really uncomfortable because she's like, Skitter was when I was at my strongest, but Skitter was also a horrible person. And so it's not that I like Glacic Gwynye as a person or as like a character, but I like her as that device, which would make me rank her higher than normal, but I won't put her super high because
Only cool thing about her is when she smiles at Taylor drowning.
that is so, like, I think Taylor says she looks up above the water, and I think she said Glacic is greedily staring at her, and that is such good word choice.
Was her power like anybody? Like, if she wanted to absorb somebody, she couldn't be the one to kill them.
So it's not that she. It's not that she can't kill people.
Yeah, it's that she's an actress in the play, or like she sees everything as like kind of like a play,
No.
like she doesn't interfere.
Her shard is the shard that the entities would use at the end of a cycle to reclaim all of the powers. The reason she doesn't actively kill people is because she wants people to like live out their full life gathering conflict just like the entities do. So she's not going to kill you prematurely, but once you are dead, she'll claim your power.
That's a cool motivation, I guess. I'm gonna give her a low B at best.
I'm gonna go mid to high B because
Okay.
EC, I like Kepri is so fucking crazy. Glacic Yuan's like, nah, fam, I'll do the hero shit now.
Yeah.
He's like, okay,
that just
looks
makes
pretty
Kepri
bad.
cooler.
It's like, okay, that was pretty
Just
bad.
like, I think
hate that
I think she almost implied that if Taylor got too strong, she would step in to help Scion. But Taylor eventually gets to a point where she's like, fuck.
The fact that her and Teacher are in the epilogue set up as like important parts of Ward made me not want to go directly to Ward.
Yeah. I know in the epilogue
We
chapter,
spent too much time on her, to be honest.
She christens herself Valkyrie in the epilogue, so I'm like, she's got to be a big deal.
I'm throwing Biter and Barker in E, and if y'all have a problem, then
No,
Yeah.
I just like we'll talk about them later, but they're garbage.
We did Chariot. I swear to God, we did Chariot.
Show Chariot's E.
Yeah.
I don't like this plot device.
He was set up as a double agent, but we never really cashed in on it. I don't
It's
think.
just another character to this world. Weld's pretty neat. Weld was
Boy
really
Scout.
cool until
Weld's B or A. I like him more than like he's up there with Saint and Simmerg and Coil. Like
Here's why I bring him down to B. The reason is Weld's really good until arc 29, where he gets so obviously duped by the other Case 53s.
Yeah, because they infiltrate the Cauldron base. Like, they want to find Cauldron because, like, oh, Cauldron's the one who ruined our lives. And whenever they find Dr. Mother, of course, all the other Case 53s are like, oh, we're going to kill her. And he's like, what? No, we can't do that. And he's like, what the fuck did you think they were going to do? Like, they're obviously going to kill her.
If I may, I think he's a B tier.
Yeah, I want him at least in B because I do like him.
Yeah.
I love this dude.
He's a positive, nice dude, and I like how he introduces us to Case 53s out in the wild.
He has balls of steel.
Aegis is barely in the story.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Right?
What if he's not? Then he's a who?
dude, Jessica Yamada.
I think
I
she's
like her.
overloved. Personally, overrated. But maybe it's a Ward thing.
She well, not even before Ward. She's always been one of the most loved characters in Worm, and I really like her.
Y'all, hold on. I gotta tell because y'all can't see video. Sometimes Tyler swirls his wine glass like an evil villain. It looks really funny. Go on, Bradley. Sorry.
Yeah, like even before Ward, she's always been one of the most loved characters in Worm, which is why, like, she makes an appearance pretty early on in Ward. So whenever I remember when that happened, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" and I was like, "Oh my god" too. I
She's
really like her
nice,
chapters.
and I bet she's hot.
Like, I
For some
like
reason, I
her.
get that vibe.
I like her in Worm. I think because she's used pretty sparingly, and she provides really good introspection for characters.
I quite like her conversation with Eidolon. That's cool.
Yeah, her conversation with Eidolon's great. So I'd put her pretty high up personally. I don't know how high you want her. I'd put her in B somewhere.
I'm
I
fine
like
with B.
Just because, like with every character she ever talks to, she's like, yeah, you can kill me, but you won't. You're not
Oh,
doing
dude,
it all for
that
yourself."
was so good.
I like when she
When
goes
she-
with Garo, like she puts the suit
Yeah.
on to go hang out with Garo.
She's wearing the metal suit and she can hear it breaking while she's wearing it, and she's like, "Honey, you're not even close to the scariest thing I've dealt with."
Jesus, that just gave me a heart palpitation. That's such a scary scene. Man, browbeat, whatever. This is like a meme character.
Yeah, this character's a meme character. So he showed up in the bank robbery fight, and then he never showed up again. So a lot of people made memes that, oh, he has a stranger power where he makes you forget that he exists. And Wild Bow got tired of those memes, so he went back to Arc 8 and had Leviathan kill him in the text.
The beauty of a web serial. You can just fuck with your fan base. Gallant. We can't spend too much time on these lads because we got big people coming up.
He did. He didn't
gone.
provide anything in context.
I'll put him
even
in
to,
D because like his death affected Glory Girl and Vista, right? That's him.
I think his death
It affected
Vista
them.
more.
Yeah. Manpower? That's
Manpower.
Get
that's
that
just a
shit out of
theme.
here.
I stopped looking up characters. I'm just saying who.
Contessa, I
Dude.
think, is also kind of overrated, but I think she's cool.
I like her. And I think the first time I read it, I really liked her power because I thought it was so cool. And I really liked the reveal of her power where she
wins.
kicks everyone, like she kicks Taylor's team's ass, and they're like, "What's your power?" And she just says, "I win." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So
It's
My
a very
first-
Sanchez line.
my first read through, I appreciated her power. Now it's less that, more I actually appreciate her character a little bit more, despite how short-lived her character is. It's mostly in 30.7 when she's talking to Taylor, but ever since Contessa was a little girl when she got her power, from that moment on, she never made another decision for herself. She was
Yeah,
living her life on autopilot, doing what gave humanity the best numbers. And so at the end, after Scion is gone, she's sitting there with Taylor, who, Taylor was also kind of on autopilot.
They're-
It was mostly her shard doing everything.
They're sitting there both trying to kind of figure out where their life's gonna go.
Yeah, and Contessa's like, do you think, because Taylor and Contessa both did horrible things to stop Scion, and Contessa's asking her these things like, was it worth it? And she's like, after this, like, do you want to still live? Do you think life is worth going on after this? And I don't know. I like that moment with her. So
That's good
As a
enough.
ki-
I'm gonna take my vote
Yeah.
out. I'll let y'all handle this one.
obviously Contessa as a character, because for the most part she's a plot device. As a character, it's very short-lived, but I like her when she's there. I could put her in low B compared to these other characters.
Yeah, I'll put her in low B. I agree. I mean, like, she is the main character of Worm.
Yeah.
But whatever.
We should put Jessica Yamada probably above Gregor. Butcher 14 needs to go a little lower.
Butcher 14. Cool.
We're gonna get unsubscribed from for not putting Jessica in S tier.
Yes, we will actually. Breed, man, who the fuck even?
Dude, he's in the Slaughterhouse 9000. He makes
Whatever.
creatures that crawl on your asshole.
Oh, I can't remember in the asshole. They're like
Blasto
big,
S tier. Blasto and S.
Actually, super fucking cool, dude. Do you remember Blasto, Tyler?
Is this the guy who gets like half of his body attached to Bonesaw?
Yes.
Yeah. This guy was
This
cool,
is-
dude.
This is one of those
Blasto's the
chapters.
reason the world ends.
This is, I think, one of Wild Bow's shining moments as a writer.
Yes.
Because I don't think I've ever seen a writer make me care more about a character in the span of one chapter. For some reason, I love this guy. First of all, he's cool because he's a potential S-class threat. Like, the heroes of the world said, hey, you could be an S-class threat. If you ever make creations that can, like, self-duplicate, we're going to put a kill order on you. And he's like, fine, I won't do that. But then, like, his moment at the end of the chapter...
Where he has morals at the end.
Yeah, because Defiant's going to kill Bonesaw, and she's like, hey, help me, because if he kills me, my body's going to release a plague, and you'll die too. And Blasto says, you know, I don't want to die, but she's going to do more bad in her life than good I could ever do. He's like, I want her to die more than I want to live.
He's above Panacea. Done deal.
I love Blasto.
Wait, when does this happen?
I love, in his interlude.
So
And
I love Blasto.
yeah, Blasto gets introduced and killed in the same chapter.
I love him.
Wait, I'm so confused. All right, because I thought what happened to Blasto was like Bonesaw takes like half of his body, attaches it to like her back half, and then she goes into
Yeah. So Bonesaw gets cleaved in half, and then she crawls up his body, and she has a prehensile spinal cord, and she puts it into his mouth and hooks it into his spinal cord, and it controls him like a robot and escapes.
That's what I thought happened. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I thought happened.
No. I got the body halves mixed up. It's Bonesaw's half.
Blasto's the god.
He's
so
Blasto is quite literally a plot device, and y'all just put him in S tier.
No, we put him in A. He's not. He has a personality, dude.
I love him.
We'll let you get one later. Accord sucks.
I don't give a fuck about Accord that much.
Accord's like a high D. I don't.
Yeah, he's a high D.
Huh?
Is Accord the architect?
Yeah. Kind of. Like the more complex a problem is, the better he is at solving it.
He has a cool power.
I think he's bitter because he came up with a plan to solve world hunger, but like obviously no country wanted to actually follow the plan, so he's like, fine, I'll just be a fucking supervillain.
I think he's bad Coil.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's dead.
Coil's better. Coil's better.
Do you want to put him in C, Tyler? You seem to like. He's an architect, so you relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he like came up with a plan for a building that would have all these traps.
He's actually good right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on top of
good
me.
Yeah.
Citrine is like whatever too. She's part of a
She's she's one of Accord's ambassadors. Fuck her.
She's got a cool power. Fog and Night are so whatever. They're jobber characters from early in the story.
Hold on.
I thought they were cool. They had a cool fight. I thought because they have really good synergy. I like them because they have good synergy.
They go in D then. I think.
Okay.
What are you giggling about?
Tyler like them. Tyler, you like them because they're Nazis. Tyler posted the big mouth characters again, and he's like, hey, "It's Fog and Night."
Shit! I just lost the character we were working with. Oh my god, where did they go? Director Pigot. Gotta be A.
Yeah, she's interesting, right? Because the first time I read this story, I was speed reading it, and I was, like, I don't know, 18 or 19, which I probably identified with Taylor a lot more when I'm 18 or 19. And I was like, oh, Pigot's such an asshole. I hate her. And now I'm like, she was actually all right. Like, she made a pretty shitty call.
Homegirl said drop the bomb.
She did try to drop the bomb on the villains who were helping fight the Nine. That's fucked up. But, I mean...
she's the Akainu of the series, you know what I'm saying?
She's the Akainu of the series. She's Sakazuki.
I like how whenever she gets threatened, she's like, honey, I'm already ugly and dying. Like, that's her... that's her, like, defense to everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you are already ugly and dying. You go.
Yeah, what do you think, Tata? What do you think?
Pigo? I have no opinions about Pigo at all.
Let us have an A. We need that A tier filled out. Purity is like a Nazi, like, gotta find her daughter, like a D tier.
Yeah.
Whatevs.
I don't got much to say about her.
Shelder's a Pokemon.
Oh, wait, is that Shelder or Shielder?
Shielder.
No,
Shielder dies in the Leviathan fight. He's,
Shielder.
I think, one of Victoria's cousins.
Oh, that's
Othello.
Othello's like whatever. That name gets brought up so much in Early Worm.
He's one of the ambassadors. He's one of Accord's ambassadors. He has a cool power, I think.
Yeah.
So he has like a shadow version of himself that's like in another world, and he can like swap between that one and the current. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, but is he like above D?
No, he's not. No, he's an E.
No, he's an E.
He's like in one chapter.
Vale 4 is the guy that Taylor fucks up.
Taylor puts maggots in his eyes.
I'm gonna put him in a pity D.
Yeah, like you gotta. He needs it, man.
Halo's a dying franchise. Rosary, what is that?
Oh, Rosary was in the same chapter as Valifor, I think. She can like take objects apart and then like reassemble them somewhere else. No one cares.
Sorry, dog.
Why-
That's a who.
Y'all, this is all. Wait, but Rosary's got that. She got that weird level of worm fan art.
Really? Get the fuck out of here.
Prove it.
Let's see what we got.
It.
There's no way.
I don't know.
What is this?
That's what's on the wiki.
What?
Oh, that's a McDonald's.
Tyler, that's Ronald McDonald as a nun.
That's their actual fan art of Rosary.
Bradley said, that's a C. Donald's.
Y'all, the one on Reddit has its pupils gone.
Ugh, get that shit out of here.
Oh.
Dude, whatever. Crusader's kind of neat. He's like a bad dad to have.
Yo, he had an interlude.
He had an interlude. That's a good Nazi character, I guess.
The best Nazi.
He's no
He had a
Stroheim.
10-foot long spear.
Put him in D, I guess.
Yeah, he's D-worthy. Golem. Can I petition my Golem for S theory? Tyler's not having it.
I'll let you have it. I'll love him.
A.
That's 2 S's to 1 A. I'll put him in low S.
Low S.
I hate.
You just dislike him because he's chubby. You're just
Dude.
No,
You're a bully.
I don't like him because he just like he fails and then just breaks down and doesn't do anything.
Golem could have been the main character. I'm gonna
What do
say.
you mean he fails and he breaks down? He becomes a part of the ward and wins multiple battles with Taylor, and then he fights Jack and Hookwolf 1v2 and more.
He's the only person who ever broke Jack's composure because he gets it. He gets Jack.
He's a true
He knows
fucking hero, and he comes from a bad lineage, and he says that no, my lineage doesn't define who I am. I am a
Plus,
chubby hero. And
he has this great moment after Taylor shoots Aster, which God rest her soul. Taylor shoots Aster, and then we immediately move into Golem's interlude, where obviously he's like, "What the fuck? My teammate just shot Aster," but he doesn't say anything. And the reason he doesn't say anything is because he's terrified.
Of what she'll say.
Because he's like, he is so scared that if he calls Taylor out, he's so scared that people will defend her and say she had to do it, and that like,
I'm moving him above the travelers.
Golem could have been the main character. I'm like. Golem's like Theo's first interlude where he met Jack. That could have been the first chapter of a book.
Oh, dude,
that could have been the first chapter of a book.
That would have been a better book, and it's already a great book.
I love Golem. I do
Ninja-
wish he was in it more, but
Ninja's whatever.
yeah, get that shit out of here.
Cricket? I do remember Cricket.
I remember Cricket,
I
but I
remember-
wish I didn't.
That's an F for me, dog.
Who is this?
Cricket screams and shit.
She's in the Empire 88.
Cricket is old Akali.
Yeah.
Strapping Lad is a Texan, so I think he goes into
Yeah,
D.
I think he's in the Austin Wards. Fuck that guy.
Strapping. Wait. Hold up.
Tyler's interested in my Strapping Lad.
Why, when I googled strapping lad, did Chevalier come up?
I don't know. Is he friends, or is Chevalier just a strapping lad? Y'all, let's talk about Hookwolf, because there's one interlude where I was like, yo, Hookwolf is right, and no one's willing to admit it. And it's the one where Taylor's trying to big dick like the other villains.
Yeah, because he's like, like obviously, Coil wants to try to make plays with territory in the city while they're fighting the Nine, and Hookwolf is like,
Fuck
hey, stop whatever the fuck you guys are doing and let's fight the Nine together. And like they're not allowed to say no, presumably because Coil would be mad at them. And they're like, no, we can't do that. And Hookwolf's like, fuck you guys. And you know, Hookwolf eventually joins the Nine, and I think his mind is a little gone because of the miasma, which, you know, we got varying opinions on the
never
miasma.
confirmed, and I hate the miasma.
But even with his brain gone like that, when he sees the slaughter that Jack does and stuff, there's a moment. I think it's before he goes in the cloning pod. He's like, I've always wanted a like big Ragnarok between the strongest of the world, but he's like, there's no honor in this. He's like, he's like, I don't like it.
The reason why I'm gonna petition him for high C is because after that moment, he's kind of whatever. He barely exists in the story.
Yeah, it would have been cool if like his clones turned their back on the Nine because of their honor.
Yeah. All right.
That's what One Piece would have done.
Yeah. I'm thinking high C if y'all will allow me.
Yeah. He's cool. He turns into a big wolf of whirring blades.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I like the synergy with Jack. Photon Mom, I feel like, is a made-up character. I feel like...
Is that part of the Dallin family?
Yeah, of course. I guess. Victor, we've done. Othala, we've done. No, Othala's different. Othala's different from Othello.
Oh, shit. Who's Othala?
Who?
Is she friends with Victor?
Yes, she probably is. She might be the one that's like in that... Like, there's something about someone in a relationship they shouldn't be. I think that was Othala. I'll give her E. Storm Tiger, I remember, but like they're barely.
Had the ability to grant any one of several temporary powers to people she touched.
Yeah.
Storm Tiger was in the same fight as Cricket. Whatever.
The Siberian was cooler before we find out that they're furry, maybe like daddy, like daughter issue.
Yeah, it's a dad pretending to be his naked daughter.
How far does that drop him? Because it might be a lot. It might be from like S
mostly. The only reason I really like the Siberian is because of what the Siberian does for Rachel, who's my favorite character.
Yes, but then you have to remember that it's still the dad.
It's still the dad at the end of the day.
All right, that's a low beat character because she's scary. No, Burn Scar's lame, dude.
We're close. No, Burn Scar's fucking cool.
Prove it.
Okay. So number one, Burn Scar was in one draft going to be the main character of this story.
Shut the fuck up.
I like Burn Scar.
Wabbo says that about everyone that lives and breathes.
I know, right? But, fucking Dinah used to be the main character. Fucking Danny used to be the main character.
Victor was the main character.
Burn Scar is almost unique among the Slaughterhouse 9 is that she does believe what they're doing is fucked up, and she feels guilt. What happens,
You're right.
The more fire she's around, she goes crazy. She becomes numb to the world. Whenever she's around fire, it's almost like drugs, where she doesn't care about anything. She just kind of rolls with the punches. And so what happens is she might go in a fury, and then whenever she comes down from the high of the fire, she's like, oh my God, what have I done? This is horrible. And you know what? She can't get away from that guilt. The only way to get away from the guilt is to make fire again and to burn more stuff so she can be in that rampage state.
I will fully admit that I forgot about her whole is actually wildfire and personified. That's a high C for me.
Yeah, so it's like she obviously can't quit the 9 because they would kill her, and even if they didn't kill her, obviously the heroes would kill her because she's killed so many people. So she's like, at least I can stay with the 9 and keep burning stuff so I can stop feeling guilt.
Really cool character. She gets crushed by Star Platinum.
Yeah. So, I wish she got, I really like her. I wish she got more
really cool theme for a character. Illigos, we don't know who that is. Don't pretend.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Cherish is pretty neat, I guess.
Cherish spawned.
Shit happens, bitch.
Shit happens, bitch. She gets put at the bottom of Brockton Bay by Bonesaw. And me and Willard just had a hard time feeling bad for her. We're just like, shit happens, bitch.
Yeah, I'm thinking C for her as well.
Yeah, she's fun. My favorite moment with Cherish is they capture her and they interrogate her in Coil's base. And then I can't remember if it's Taylor or Imp who kicks her in the mouth. And they're like, I hope Bonesaw gave you reinforced teeth. And Cherish is like, yeah, she did.
Tyler, you got anything about her?
No, that's good. Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did.
That is funny. String Theory, right?
String Theory is the one who knocked Scion into space.
Let's go, D tier.
That's kind of badass.
That's so cool.
And that's it.
All right, Bonesaw, high A, I'm thinking. Bonesaw's pretty cool, dude.
Bonesaw's interlude.
She turned around for me. I kind of hated her until her interlude, and then it recontextualized the whole character for me.
Yeah, because first of all, her trigger event is one of the most fucked up things in the entire story, where the 9 just keep killing her family over and over and making her revive them. And eventually, that's why she became the way she is. Because after reviving her mom for hour after hour, she just she just didn't see people as people anymore. People just became objects to her.
Just mush.
And like we learn about this dynamic between her and Jack where she has to she forcefully makes herself age slower and she acts more like a kid than she actually is because that's the image Jack wants.
Yeah,
and like
it's so fucked up.
And like she has to always act that way. And at the end of her interlude, she decides she doesn't want to do that anymore. She kind of wants to do her own thing. But Jack wakes up, and the second she makes eye contact with Jack, she gets this chill down her spine, and she's like, he knows.
Ugh.
Like, it's like an instinct. She's like, oh my God, he knows. And she's so scared.
Way to show that, like, abuse. Hi, anybody? Everybody?
I'm good with that.
Crawler is okay. Now Crawler's actually like.
Did you know Crawler's balls are inside his body?
The only cool thing about Crawler is that he loves pain. That's
the only
like
cool thing about Crawler is his nuts. I like the way he dies because they're like, "Hey, Crawler, this will kill you," and he's like, "Bet."
He's like, "Bet."
Bet.
Mannequin's fucking dope, y'all. That's a memorable ass because like Mannequin has no personality, turns into a personality. Him wagging his finger. I want to see that as a taunt in a fighting game one day.
I'm gonna go B. I really like all the fights with Mannequin.
Yeah,
like
he has some of the best fights in the
Taylor.
series.
Like he's the main reason Taylor like upgrades and goes beyond 9,000.
Like Taylor's fight against Mannequin is the first thing Taylor does that people elsewhere in the world would be able to look at her and be like, "Shit, all right."
Mannequin's the Blueno of
and like yeah, really, honestly. And you know, if you described all of that crew of the Slaughterhouse 9 to someone who like hadn't read the story, they might peg him as being one of the weakest, but he has been in the Slaughterhouse 9 the longest in that crew besides Jack, Bonesaw, and Siberian.
I might even argue A because cool backstory, great showings, great ties with Collins, growth, just an extremely memorable villain that was actually imposing but not overpowered. I don't know. I like him.
Yeah, he's cool.
We'll leave him at B. Gray Boy is scary.
Gray Boy is like the scariest thing that could happen to me. I'm so scared of him. That being said, he doesn't get time to be a character really.
I think he's low B just for that sheer factor. Like he is kind of like fun when he does talk, like with his like he knows that he's dangerous.
So the thing that's really scary to me though, and I think it was either Jack or Bonesaw that mentioned this, the original Gray Boy, the one that wasn't a clone, was even more unhinged than the clone one, because the clone one takes orders. Apparently, the OG Gray Boy would just non-discriminately throw out his power and trap people.
Jesus.
Which is terrifying.
Noelle, I think, goes with the other travelers in S tier. She might be the best villain in Worm, with the well, that's not... There's some good villains because Jack Slash and Scion exist, and I think she's right up there with them, is what I'm trying to argue.
The Noelle arc is, or like the Echidna fight arc is so fucking cool.
The whole like bulimia into consuming things and cloning them, how horrible her life was. I think she's at least A. I'll let Tyler be like the deciding factor.
I'd vote for that.
I like her a lot. I like how she just like has been fighting for so long.
Yeah.
And then like she was like everybody kind of stays as like this static character where they don't care about this world and the dimension that they're in, yet Noelle actually tries to be a good person and like fight against the power that's taking over her, and eventually she just loses it and she's like, all right, you know what, fuck it, fuck this world just like the rest of y'all think.
Yeah. Where do you think she should go?
She's a gamer girl.
I like A. She's got a good villain.
She's a gamer.
High A.
Guess who got another drink, babe?
Canary didn't, because she's a sweet girl, and she goes in B tier. No.
Dude, poor girl. Dude, you know what's fucking fun about Canary is she's in like she's like the arc 6 or 7 interlude, and then she ends up being part of Taylor's like main team at the end of the story.
Oh, the most horrifying thing is like Canary sing to them so they don't fucking die from a heart attack, calm them down. I'm like, whoa!
That was yeah, because people were having strokes when Khepri was controlling them. He like made them calm down.
It makes me want to throw up.
Okay, you can bump her up to B. She got fucked.
I'm thinking high C.
What a girl. Man, I really like the implication of, because I think she's really used to show like how new powers are to the world, and people don't know how to handle it legally because after a concert, because like she sings to control people or whatever. So after a concert, she saw her ex and she told him to go fuck himself, and he did. And then she goes to the birdcage because he kind of mutilated himself, I think.
We're very short on time, so we gotta speed some of these up. Long, I think we all like Long.
S plus.
Dude, I love Long. I love Long. Holy, he's so cool.
He ends up being goes where he wants.
He ends up being on Taylor's team at the end, and like he kind of wants to kill her, but
I like when he's kind of teasing Taylor's like, "Does this hurt?" or whatever. Like he's like burning her shit. I don't know. It was cool.
There's a part where she's like, "Can you burn my fucking arm off so I can get back to work?" And he's like, "Fine."
Oh, he takes pleasure in it.
He pleases.
I'll put him in S for you. Marquise, all right.
B.
He was all right. He could have been better.
His whole gentleman like villain thing didn't really work for me.
It could have been sold better.
Me off.
It could have been sold better.
Goalie who?
Oh, she was a Case 53 who used to be on Tekton's team, but no one cares.
Oh no, she's nice. She's the one with the big teeth.
Yeah. She had like the big teeth jaw thing, right?
Oh, she's in D. She's really kind. No, I like her. See, low C. Because like
Golden Smash.
She has like a cool little exchange with Tecton. All right, D it is.
Golden Smash.
Labyrinth doesn't really like all those characters don't really go anywhere.
Altline's crew doesn't get to do a whole lot.
I mean, she's important for the ending of Worm, but like I don't think she's a very good character. Yeah. Madison Clemens, she's the least interesting of all the bitch girls.
So this is the Worm tier list. In Glowworm, which is the like interlude chapters between Worm and Ward, I was like, you know what? I think she's actually pretty cool. Worm tier list though, she goes in like E.
She goes low D.
She doesn't apply anything to the story.
She has a distinct personality. I mean, it's very similar to the other girls, so maybe I'm giving her too much.
After Glowworm, I was like, you know what? I think she's a really cool character.
Matryoshka doesn't get much in the story, but it's memorable because she's like who the travelers run into, the Case 53.
Yeah.
Sanguine, that sounds like the vampire.
He's a Vegas Cape. No one knows who he is.
Cool.
Nobody.
Shamrock,
Vegas Cape.
No, Shamrock's the Fault Line crew, right?
Nah, Shamrock. Oh yeah, she is.
She's nobody to me.
Yeah,
get that shit out of here.
Scrub.
A-tier.
I like how we're like fuck
A-tier.
Make a triple S tier. Let's go.
Scrub goes in C low, and we're being
vegetables.
He's probably a C.
Scrub is cool because he got me really thinking about the Manton effect.
I love how we saw Scrub and we all just went, let's go.
Who the fuck is Forrest?
Forrest, great character.
Who?
Forrest is a guy that Taylor hired, and he's like the one who takes care of all the kids. He's all right.
Fuck that guy. That's an E character.
Forrest was the Brockton Bay citizen who helped Skitter fight against.
Let's go, Forrest!
Yeah, he picked up the cinder block and smashed Mannequin's head.
C tier.
Yeah, he's got
that guy's
balls,
cool.
dude.
I was about to condemn that man. Senegal is one of the troops. He's one of the like the one.
Yeah, he's one of okay. Whatever.
Charlotte has some stuff. She's C
Charlotte
tier.
is B. Charlotte's B. She stands up. She's got some good plot relevance.
She's better than Sierra.
Wait, where did y'all end up putting Forrest?
I put Forrest
like D,
in C.
E,
Cool,
D, C. Yeah, he's in C.
I put him with Charlotte. You know,
all right.
I like him better than Marquise. Even like Forrest,
he's
this wholesome character who comes in. He's like, I saw what you did. I don't agree with all your methods, but I see what you're doing right now, and I know you're trying to help. So I'm going to try and help you too.
I'm gonna help you kill this mannequin dude because I'm a fucking badass.
Yeah, man.
Can we all agree that we actually like Marquise is kind of fucking boring and should be in D?
Yeah.
I don't know about D, but I'm cool with D.
Dimitri. Oh.
What?
Marquise got big retired.
Mobster.
Who's the main antagonist from Avengers?
Oh fuck, dude.
Thanos. He's got retired Thanos vibes.
I'm sure Marquis is gonna be really cool in the prequel.
What? Oh god.
Who's Dimitri?
Brad Pitt's pretty good in certain movies. I think he's an A tier actor.
What is this?
Wait, that's not even a funny joke because his name is Pritt. Who the fuck names a character Pritt?
What's a Pritt? What is this?
I don't
Okay,
know
you
where
obviously don't know who these characters are.
Sierra can go into C. She's below
Yeah.
Forrest and Charlotte.
Yeah.
That's a little too nice. Assault, I feel like we've done twice.
This is the thing. This is like Maksho and Romp. It's the same fucking character.
Bitch.
Okay, wait. Hold on.
S.
Hold
I
on.
love her.
1, 2. Okay, except for Flish. Okay, yeah. Just S. Just throw her an S.
Oh, I love Rachel. Holy shit. I love her character arc because, like, whenever you're doing a character arc for a character who starts out as a villain, it's so easy to do like, oh, they're a bad person, and they transition into being a good person. At the end of the story, she's still a fucking supervillain. Her arc is learning to trust. Her arc is learning to trust people. And I think it's like, to me, in the story, the best executed arc. I fucking love it because she missteps so many times on her way there. Like, her knocking Taylor into the containment phone when Dragon's about to blow up is like that's a top 10 anime betrayal.
15.
Oh my god.
I really like the girl who wants to become a vet who starts working with Bitch, and like through that girl who's this like real like Bitch sees her as really weak, but she's good with the dogs and tries, and like she becomes this confidant that like other than Taylor, she's like trusts her and values her opinion.
On top of everything else said, the way that Bitch is written as a dog, as a human, Wildbow nailed it. He fucking what an experiment to do with one of your main characters, and I think he really killed it. You could go back and see how doggish her behavior is and all that.
It's one of my favorite characters than anything.
Also, her like blind loyalty in Taylor just hurts. Yo,
let's fucking go!
Clock Blocker!
What's up?
Come on, dude. I'm going up.
Dude, you know how many fans want
Rip.
Taylor and Clock Blocker to fuck?
Rip.
Yeah, I'm a Taylor X Clock Blocker shipper. I'm a
dude
Clock Skitter.
Because they have that, like, the first time, I think during the Echidna arc, they actually get to sit down and talk.
That's
Clock Blocker's listening to her, and he's like, you know, she's not not totally wrong.
Yeah, he gives her like a genuine chance while sticking true to his word. The only thing I don't like about Clock Blocker is how jaded he becomes. It's depressing, and then he gets unceremoniously killed. But
and you know what? In Glastic Winye's epilogue chapter, she uses his ghost. But you know what? Clock Blocker and Taylor had the best combo team attack in the story against Echidna.
Let's go!
And then he tries to copy that. He like integrates it into a glove that shoots out wires.
That's dangerous, dog.
I love Clock Blocker. He's such a good dude.
All right, we're gonna do Flechette and Parian together because I don't really care for them. I think they're kind of lame.
The coolest thing about Parian is when she had like a stuffed animal beat the shit out of Leviathan, which was cool.
So did everybody else.
Yeah, everyone got to beat the shit out of Leviathan for a little bit.
Arms Master did it better.
Even Clock Blocker flows Leviathan.
Yo, Clock Blocker versus Leviathan.
Yeah, he froze Leviathan, dude. Imagine being Clock Blocker and getting close enough to touch Leviathan.
Oh my god, what a hero child.
What a hero.
What are you thinking about Parian?
I don't know, D, high D. I don't like because they're very relevant, but like
we're gonna throw them both in C.
You know, Flechette killed Grey Boy, which he's like the most horrifying thing in the setting. So thank you.
Is almost zero personality walking kill switch for when Wildbow needed to kill the bads.
Yeah.
Imp. I mean, I don't think she's S, but we're gonna get 2 S's here, so we're gonna throw.
You're getting 2 S's here.
Is S.
Yeah. I love that girl. She is.
Throw her up here.
I think in the latter half of the story, she adds much needed comedic relief. Because Worm didn't have a whole lot of that before her.
The Regent died so she could run.
Yeah, and I think you know what? I think she has a pretty cool power.
Yeah, no, her power is great, and the way it is one of the best things Wildbow does sometimes with his writing is he like will not mention Imp at all and make you actually forget about her, and the way she's introduced is really expertly done.
And she's at Taylor's side all throughout Arc 30, probably pissing and shitting herself the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Militia, talk about S tiers. We just saved all the S tiers.
I like Miss Militia is a character that feels like a hero, right?
Yes.
Because even if you identify with Taylor, which so many readers do their first time around, like you know, if you identify with Taylor your first time around, you'll probably look at a lot of heroes like Armaster and be like, oh, they're such fucking assholes. But I think everybody can see Miss Militia and be like, you know what? She gives Taylor a fair and honest chance. Like, I think she's actually doing her best, you know? I like her.
I'm gonna say high A. I'll hold it back a little bit. A is looking a little thin. I think she.
I think she's good in A.
Tyler, you good with that?
I'm good with A. I didn't like her story too
Regent.
much.
Regent's an S tier. I mean, come on.
Hey, you go higher. You go higher than Jack Slash.
Whoa.
Regent.
Yeah, he goes.
Dude.
Oh man, he goes. I'll put him behind bitch for
Dude,
Ryan and Brad.
Regent's interlude is so good. I'm letting you go, Regent lied.
The turning point of Worm, where Worm became great.
I'll say that was one of the first chapters where Willer's like, you can tell Wildbow became a better writer with this chapter.
Oh yeah, Wabo snapped that day. Regent is entertaining. The way he softens up over time, he gets like a inverse Taylor character arc, and Taylor ends up literally controlling people like Regent, like she complained about the whole fucking series.
Yeah, it's always been such a moral dilemma for her that Regent can control people. She does the same thing, and he's such a good device for our character because she visits his memorial and she's like, she's talking about him. She's like, you did all this horrible shit. You killed and raped people. And I mean, you went out like a hero, sure, during the Behemoth fight, but doing one good thing after a long string of bad things doesn't make you a good person. You were a monster. Yeah. And then she caps off her speech with, I guess we're the same in that regard. And that's such a good moment of introspection for her.
So my favorite thing about Worm is like all the characters die like in military like battles. Like you don't know really when a character's die until it's way later.
Yeah.
The only like on-screen
heroic
death is through Regent.
And you know what?
Malbo doesn't try to be like he's redeemed now. He's just like he was getting better, but he died, and that is what it is.
If Imp was the much needed comedic relief for the second half, Regent was that for the first half. Like during the Bakuda fight, she melts a dude, and he's like, "Whoa, that was cool. How'd you do it?" And she goes into her long spiel of how she made the technology, and he's like, "Oh no, like I don't give a fuck how you." No, he's like, "That's cool," and she says how she did it. He's like, "I don't give a fuck how you did it. I'm just saying I thought it was cool."
Shadow Stalker, she pretty cool, I guess.
Dude, I really like her. This is another character. So, okay, Taylor's team at the end of the story is like, if you told me who her team was at the end of the story, I would lose my fucking mind. Where her team is Canary, Lung, Shadow Stalker, and Bitch. Okay? She recruits fucking Shadow Stalker. And, you know, obviously, at this point, at the end of the story, Sophia knows that, you know, Taylor is Skitter. And she tries to take credit for it. She's like, yeah, like, I made you strong. And Taylor's like, fuck you.
I think her outlook on life is so, like, it feels hard to believe. It's so harsh. It feels, it's almost, like, unrealistic. I don't know if I want to throw that out in, like, a hero story.
Yeah.
I like her. I put her in B, personally.
But you know what? I think it's a good point where I think when we talked about Scion, I kind of talked about a theme of the story where you need to be able, like a unique identity of humans that the entities would want is that they can persevere through hardship. I think both Jack and also Shadowstalker are very in line with the entities.
Yeah.
Sophia does not have that ability to persevere through hardship. When she ends up on the short end of the stick, she says, I'm the prey now, not the predator. Because she views everything through a lens of predator and prey. She's like, I'm the prey now. I'm going to take my lower end of the stick. But Taylor didn't do that. Taylor came out ahead. She's like, I pushed through. Now I am the boss.
I'm the boss. The boss. Tyler, where are you putting Shadowstalker?
God, see, I hate this character. I find no redemption through.
She's still an asshole. Like, let's be real. Like, yeah, she doesn't get redeemed or anything.
We're averaging out to a B for Shadowstalker.
Low B.
Triumph, I think, also goes in B for his amazing interlude finale.
He had a really good. His interlude was so good. Which, if you for people who don't remember his interlude, which is probably a lot of people, probably, I don't know. At the end of, because, you know, in his interlude is when Defiant debuts, and of course, he's still really sore about Armsmaster probably causing a lot of people to die during the Leviathan fight.
We don't talk about
and
that
Defiant,
for Best Boy.
Yeah. Defiant is obviously Armsmaster, and he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? That's obviously Armsmaster. And everyone's like, no, it's Defiant. Wink, wink. And he goes and he looks at the now, like, frozen mannequin and crawler, and he says he stares at them for hours trying to see if there's something he can see that'll let him tell the difference between the heroes and the monsters. And he says he never sees it.
Yeah,
what the hell is Triumph?
Right?
He's the dude. He's cool. I think
He
Tyler
yells.
can't remember him, so you should go in high C.
He yells really loud.
Specifically, the word is like he was going to stay there for no more than 5 minutes because of the radiation, but he stood for 15. I just really like that prose. I hate Tattletale. She's annoying and exposition bot, and I hate her. And she has
which is strange, right? Because in character polls, she's consistently like in the top 3.
She's snarky, and she's like, "I'm just so ahead of you. I know things you don't." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, Lisa."
I think the thing I really like about her is this whole element where she's using Taylor as a substitute for her brother who died.
Definitely her best component.
But you know, it's really weird because the first time I read the story, I was with most people where she was one of my absolute favorite characters and I enjoyed her. But on rereads, I was like, is she really that good? I don't know. I don't hate her, but I don't love her.
Yeah, hate is a strong word. She once you've been through the story for so long, like she grew on me.
Actually, yeah, like
little bit.
I don't dislike her at all, even, but I don't necessarily know if I'm like, yeah, she's cool.
Tyler, what are your thoughts on Tattletale, real quick?
I love Tattletale.
What's okay?
Cringy,
Boost her up a little bit.
That's kind of
boost her up a little.
I'll throw
boost
her
up a few places.
I'll throw her in either high B or low A.
Yeah, put her in A. So
all I'm talking about is when we find out her backstory, and then the entire time she's plotting against Coil, and she's like, I took all of your money, and now they're mine. Kill him.
Thanks for reminding me why I hate this fucking
You know
character.
what? We'll put her in A so we keep a few subscribers. Okay.
They can leave, all right? And then we can end this with Gru and Skitter. Gru!
Y'all!
Gru's the laughing stock of this series.
It's funny because, like, I think really early on, like as early as arc 2 or 3, Tyler's like, "So Bradley, when's Gru gonna die?"
I was like, and then I just kept telling Tyler, "It's like next arc, bro. Next arc."
Every time he asked for, like, dude, the next arc, he dies.
And then eventually he did. Man, his dad being hidden from you.
So here's the thing. I didn't even know Gru died.
Yeah, you only find out in the epilogue at the end.
Like, the very last epilogue, I think Tattletale says he never made it off the oil rig.
I believed he was in that shack, fucking Conan, or whatever her name is.
Yeah, I thought he was fucking Conan. Cozen.
Yeah, no, he was Conan. Bruce Willis, he's C tier as fuck.
Tattletale's consistently near the top of character polls. I think whenever there's a poll about your favorite Undersider, I think this dude is, always at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think. The romance between him and Taylor was kind of shoddy. And on a reread, I liked it because of that, because I think it shows that
they weren't meant
Taylor is incapable of having romance with somebody. Like, she will always prioritize whatever her objective or mission is. Like, she has to be focused on her idea of justice. But that doesn't change the fact that I think he just got too much attention for what he was.
How uninteresting he is.
He died in that freezer. Okay.
Ooh, I like that.
Like, his body was still alive, but his character died in that freezer.
Bruno Bucciarati looking ass.
Yeah.
Where's he going? Because keep in mind, Tyler was supposed to be asleep 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, he's an Undersider, so does that put him in C at least?
Yeah, no, like, he's fleshed out. I understand him as a person. He's just kind of lame. So I think C's fair, right?
Last character, y'all.
Skitter.
Wait, just Skitter?
And
I think this is like Taylor as a whole, right?
Taylor, Skitter, Wiper,
So, dude,
Weaver.
now this character is written at different qualities. So, this is Wildbow's first book. He grew a lot as a writer throughout the story. So she's written in different quality throughout the book. However, when you get to arc 30, if you didn't already consider her an S character, I think arc 30 Taylor is an S tier character.
Taylor is a C tier character for 99% of the story, and then she shoots up to astronomical heights because the themes of the story coalesce, and you realize what it was all for.
Arc 30 is the point where Wildbow goes, if I haven't made it clear what the point of this character is, here it is. Because in arc 30, she finally gets what she wanted. She gets to control everybody. She gets to deal out justice the way she wants. Because even as early as like arc 1 or 2, people give her ways out. They're like, do you want to transfer schools? We can do that. Do you want us to punish the bullies? We can do that. And she's always like, no. Like, the way it's not going to work if you guys do it. I want my demands. I know how to do everything right. And I'm not saying this to shit on Taylor. I like that aspect of her character because she does it that early on. And then we get to arc 30 and we see what she's wanted all along, to control everybody, to deal out justice the way she sees fit. And I think it's fucking awesome.
Tyler, you got anything on Taylor? What are your thoughts?
I like Taylor's story. I like her adventure through shittiness as like an angsty teenager. Like Bradley wraps it up in when we talked about Taylor's mother for me, saying like, this is the most I'll ever do in life. Yeah, like I have my
it's so teenager of her to think that is like, and I mean she's right, but like it really encapsulates everything about her, really.
But it's like, where do you go from there as that character? Like, they were given a second chance, but to do what? To just live that life without, like, she got dealt a shit hand when she was young. Like, when she was a teenager going through middle school, she got bullied for like the most ridiculous reasons by these just cruel people who saw her as a weak individual when she was just going through like grieving. And she gets basically a do-over to just be normal. And it's a weird anti-hero story. Like there's a lot of anti-heroes out now, and there's the whole idea with the anti-heroes is someone you relate to, but they obviously come with error.
Go on. If you can. If you can.
I can't. I like her. I think she's A. I think there's obviously some much more interesting characters who we don't have to focus on as much that we like more because of that. Okay, but I'm going to say she is the highest of A, bottom of S. I would even put her like above Sleeper, to be honest, because like that Sleeper is only S out of mystery.
Sleeper's
I think having Taylor be the main character, we go through 30 arcs, not chapters, arcs following this character, or 29 following this character.
Because there's a good arc in there somewhere.
Yeah, 29 following this character. And that can't be easy to make this character perfect or even imperfect as an anti-hero the whole time. You come out of this story and you've read the 29 arcs of this character and followed them, like, that's 6 books, man. That's like more than Maximum Ride that had in her books. I think she's great. I think it's a good hero character who has a nice, like, not even a good ending. She doesn't even get a happy ending. She gets a neutral ending.
It's optimistic at best. And that's how I've seen a lot of Wildbow's books described, where from what I've heard, none of his books will have what you would outright call a happy ending. They're usually optimistic, where a lot of stuff's gone to shit, but there's hope for the future. And,
you know what? I actually pitched to Brad. I don't like I had a talk with Bradley about this, and this is probably the most that we got into Worm is when I discussed this at the end. Is like I asked Bradley, I go, is Taylor alive or dead? And I had this theory that she wasn't actually in another Earth dimension, and we're just experiencing her version of hell. She has no power. She is normal, and she's with her dad still.
And here's the thing: I have no fucking idea if she's alive or dead. And if someone tells you they know, they're lying. Nobody knows. And Wildbow has like toyed with us forever, and he's never going to tell anybody because I think he knows like there's a 50% of people who would be mad if she was still alive, and a 50% of people who would be mad if she's dead. So I think he made it very ambiguous.
Let me do my Taylor spiel.
Yeah.
Being inside the head of Taylor is exhausting in a trial that I had to sit 1.5 million words through. But eventually she said, "We're so small in the end," and I'm like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Yeah.
She has the best death out of any protagonist, and then that death gets run back. And I don't think it should have because I thought that death was perfection. So
the crowning moment, man. Like the crowning moment, maybe of the entire story, maybe the best section of the story is the chapter after she has killed Scion, where she becomes like the main villain. She sees everybody crying and holding each other and laughing and crying and shooting fireworks into the air. But she sees it as people hurting each other and killing each other. She can't see it as anything but people hurting each other. And I'm like, that's just so Taylor.
She wasted so much of my time getting there. But okay, we're going to put her at the bottom of S below Sleeper.
Because... Yeah, Tyler talked a lot about, in fiction nowadays, and probably forever, but especially nowadays, you have a lot of, I don't know if you'd say villain main characters, but characters who can be seen as the villain.
Yeah.
And I like the niche she fills within that category because, for example, Light Yagami from Death Note, his story is kind of, at the end of the story, he's basically, what I did wasn't bad because I feel like I had to do it, and I feel like I was supposed to do it. Then you have Walter White, where he's like, what I did was bad, but I liked doing it, and I was good at it. Taylor feels a niche where it's like, what I did was bad. It technically saved everybody. It worked. It had a good outcome, but that doesn't retroactively make it a good thing to do. So all three of those characters kind of fill different niches, and I kind of enjoy Taylor's.
When she says I would have done some things differently, I don't know if I buy her, but it's a good line.
Yeah, she's like, I think specifically she says, I'm not going to say I regret what I did, because it worked, it saved everybody, but if I could start over, maybe I'd do some things differently, maybe I'd work with the heroes more.
She ain't no
Press X for doubt.
That's all I'm saying, baby.
Now, if Blake Thorburn was on this list, main character of Pact, we'd have to make a new tier. Double S, triple S, quadruple S even, dare I say.
My boy. All right, guys, that wraps up our Worm tier list. This one's for all you Worm boys and girls.
Yeah, dude, I am super excited to put this one out. Yeah. Really.
This is gonna be it's longer than I thought, but we're talking about Bradley's favorite series. What did we actually expect? Like,
dude, I can't wait to listen back to this because I feel like I was a lot calmer at the beginning before I drank a 6-pack.
Man, some of these characters in the Who tier, you're gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, "Oh my god, no, not them." I actually love them. Turns out Minor, I know who Minor. Whatever. There's no time to think about this. Thank you, Snow Queen Louise, for setting up this tier list. It was very helpful. All right, gang. Take that, you Worm.
I need to get this.